So it sounds like you didn't take in a whole lot this weekend.
I watched a lot of golf, and I watched the 500. I mean, all my stuff's in the mornings. So I mean, I was done early.
Gotcha.
No, I had the race on. I watched more of the golf than the 500. I had them on. I had both on, if you know what I mean, but I was more interested in the golf.
So you had the volume on the golf?
Yeah.
I'm not finding a lot of Trevor Immelman fans.
It was funny. They a couple times they asked him some, point blank questions, and he doesn't give answers.
Right.
Kind of the object. But I mean, the golf was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Another nice leaderboard.
Right. That poor Mitchell couldn't make a putt yesterday.
He almost snapped on 17. It was so great to see when he missed like that 6-footer for birdie.
He missed putts he hit the ball really well.
Yeah.
Watched a couple more episodes of Full Swing.
Okay.
Wife even took one in with me.
Ooh-wee. All right.
DJ's not as dumb as Koepka.
15 seconds.
That's a pretty big admission for you right there.
Koepka's dumb.
He's not that dumb. He's got $100 million in the bank.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy President's Day. Hope you had a great weekend. The band is back together. Thanks for starting your week off with us. And how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. I have a little enthusiasm behind that one, little oomph.
There was oomph. I felt oomph.
That's an intangible oomph, whether you feel it or not. Do they have oomph? I don't know. Tough to tell. I'll get back to you.
It's that last box that we check off. That's the intangible box. It's oomph.
Exactly. Oomph. How are you? How was your weekend?
A lot of little kids practicing. We got softball going on. We've got soccer going on. There's a lot going on in the world with the young ones. So I'm a full-time dad on the weekends, David.
Hold on. Which one of these did you agree to be the assistant coach with? Because that one's on you.
Softball.
Okay. All right. So the soccer, that's just the daughter playing it. You're just a parent. The other one, you're a coach. I asked the question last week, and I don't know if you saw the movie Kicking and Screaming. Will Ferrell, Mike Ditka. Ditka was tremendous in it.
He was.
Should have been nominated for something. All right. But in all seriousness, at one point, Will Ferrell called him Juice Box Boy. All right. His job was to get the juice boxes. Are you Juice Box Boy?
Kinda. I would definitely take that role, because what I have found is that, there's too many coaches. There's 4 of us. We don't need that many, but it's all right because you're just volunteering and you're helping out. But the main guy, the head guy, at times thinks he's coaching much older kids than he's coaching.
Gotcha.
His mentality of coaching is, coaching young men, not little girls.
Gotcha.
And the one thing I've learned in coaching little girls so far, David, the most important thing so far is lots of water breaks.
Is it because they need the water or because they just want to talk?
Probably both, but it's amazing how often one of them says, "Can I get some water?" And once one wants water, you might as well have a water break, because then practice has been disrupted for 10 minutes because the next one's going to ask, and then the next one's going to ask, and so on and so forth.
Is this like when we were in class and you used to ask to go to the bathroom, and then once one student saw someone go to the bathroom, then it was as soon as they came back, you had to be the first to raise your hand and say, "Can I go? And can I go? And can I go?" Any reason to get 5 to 8 minutes out of class.
There's no doubt. I had one little girl who decided there was one little area of shade in the whole field. There was a tree down the left field line. We were just playing catch in the outfield. She wouldn't move from the shade. She said, "I'm staying in the shade."
Wait, hold on a second.
What is it you can do at this point? Because I can't I really don't feel as if I can tell them what to do. I can try to influence them as to what to do.
Hold on. She's growing up in Southwest Florida. It's February. She needs the shade in February?
Oh,
Man, maybe
Yep.
she needs to be Juice Box Boy. I mean, man, it's over then. If you need, now I will say the latter part of this week, apparently the whole state's going to be like 90 on Thursday. Which is pretty remarkable. It is February after all. Even even for those of us, the reason we live here is the weather. It's like, hold on a second, 90 in February? Damn. All right. I could understand if by the end of this week, she's like, I need to hang out in the shade. I've been used to 90 in a few months. But what was it? Like a whopping 78 when she needed the shade? I'm concerned.
again, David, these are questions that I don't get into. I just simply try to rally the troops to water breaks. When is the next water break? That's I've figured out that's my job.
Do you do a lot of clapping? Is there a lot of Jason Garrett in you? Remember when he coached the Cowboys and seemingly every time the networks went to a cutaway of him on the sidelines, he was clapping?
No, there's not. Maybe I should start. Maybe I'll begin clapping more.
There you go. Every time they come to you, be like, "Okay, ladies, you're doing good. Okay, you need to be the clapper. If you're not going to be Juice Box Boy, be the clapper."
All right, I'll work on that.
Okay. All right. Good to know. So a lot went on this weekend. You had the Super Bowl of racing yesterday. So my question is, why can't they end it under green flag racing? If it's the biggest damn race in your sport, why are we ending the sucker under caution? No, I'm being serious. No. There are two races.
We might still be there. That would be my first answer.
That's fine. That's fine. If we were down to 2 on the lead lap, I'm good with that. Seriously. You know how I feel about this. This goes all the way back 20 years in which, who was it? Was it Michael Waltrip who won the Daytona 272? It was just over halfway and it started raining and they said, well, that's it. No, we come back tomorrow. We got lights. No, absolutely not. We're not calling the Super Bowl 5 minutes into the third quarter. No, no, I'm not kidding, Mark. I'm not. 2 races a year. We finish on green flag racing. The first one and the last one. We don't decide the championship on the yellow, and we don't decide the Daytona 500 under yellow. You can't call it the Super Bowl of racing and finish under caution. No, not since you changed the rules 20 years ago and it did the whole green-white checkered thing. Well, then we're doing this sucker then. Do it again. I don't care. What? They don't have the gas? Seriously, we got lights and they got gas. How? The race took 3 hours and 40 minutes. Can't take 3 hours and 50 minutes? Seriously, you can't have the biggest damn race in your sport, and when a wreck happens, we all don't know who's winning the race. For 30 seconds, nobody knew who won the race. Well, right then and there, that's a bad finish. If we don't know who won the race, and it's not because it's a photo finish at the start-finish line, then that's a bad finish.
I will say, in watching the end of the race, I'm with you. That there's no other sport. None. You can take the stick and ball sports, you can take tennis, you can take golf, you can take anything else that's out there.
There you go. Do it. Try to, on every single biggest stage, equate it to what we got yesterday. What? We stopped the Super Bowl, after Mahomes' scramble? That's 35-0. 2.5 minutes. What? Because he got a first down. It's the Chiefs' ball. They're in the red zone. They're the winner. Wait, what? We're not going to finish this. The holding penalty.
He's
Nope,
in the
after
middle.
the
He's in
holding
the middle of the
penalty.
fairway. He's in the middle of the fairway. Line one. Tournament's
Right.
over. He hit the fairway there. He's won.
John Rahm's the winner. Doesn't matter that Homa nearly chipped in to put some pressure on him on 18. Nope, we didn't even get to that point. Rahm's the winner. And this is not the Genesis Invitational, by the way. This is the Daytona 500. Don't tell me it's the biggest damn thing in your sport. Don't tell me it's the biggest damn thing in your sport and end it the way you end it. I don't want to hear it. And you know I love the race. And you know I'm a NASCAR fan. And I was riveted yesterday to what, for the most part, was a pretty damn boring race.
I was going to say that was a tough watch yesterday for the most part.
Woo-wee. That was, a lot of lead changes, I will say that. But, half the field led a lap. But, man, it was a lot of left-hand turns with not much going on for, about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Then the one wreck we do have, they're in commercial. I always love that. Do you know we had 18% of the race under caution yesterday? Why can't they run the commercials during that 18%? This drives me nuts. In this day and age, that's the other thing. It's the only damn sport in which we miss live action. Imagine if we're in commercial as the Eagles are driving to tie it in the fourth quarter. Sorry, we just have to take a commercial break here. Really? 18% of the race. 18%, nearly 40 laps under caution. You can't get your commercial breaks in during that 18%? If I was running the damn sport, even baseball, they at least time out. We time out the commercial breaks in between innings. If you miss the first pitch of an inning, that's a you problem. We nearly didn't see Aaron Boone's home run 20 years ago. Fox barely got back from commercial break as Wakefield was in his windup with the first pitch at the bottom of the inning. Oh, Mark, I was so fired up. 4 hours I devote, and that's what you give me?
Great 30 seconds of drama to figure out who won, David.
Oh, goodness.
And we get the reaction basically of the crew because they didn't have the shot initially. It was backwards how we found out.
Right. Who won? I don't know. You don't know who won. Well, then that's a bad ending. Even for a split second, unless they are literally, nose to nose coming to the start-finish line. Oh, it's too close to call. Like a horse race. And down the stretch they come. Well, it depends on when they, hit the caution and what marker they were at. Oh, for goodness sakes. How about they keep racing? And if, you know what? And because they race so many extra laps, if somebody's out of gas, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of like not putting enough golf balls in your bag. That's on you.
They did run the Daytona 527 last night or whatever it was.
Yeah, let's see, 212, so 2.5 miles. Yeah, what was it? 530. It was the Daytona 530 yesterday. Okay.
The longest one ever.
Okay. Who wants to see a few more laps and finish this thing right? Raise your hand. Anybody? Am I alone on this island here?
Well, I have to say, David, I knew this. I really expected this to happen. When they explain to you how these races are going to end, and if we get caution here, well, they were all wrecking one another in the overtime. So I did not think we'd get a clean race. I was amazed that we even got the one lap in without a crash at the rate things were going towards the end.
So you were okay?
Do I like the rule? No. I liked when they used to race after the wreck and they would race to the checkered flag. I would prefer that. But I knew what the rules are, so I'm not hot and bothered by it. But I'm not the NASCAR fan that you are. Miller and Moulton.
Yes, no, maybe so. We're bringing it back.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, Heidi has nothing to do with this. That was the network deciding to break away from coverage, not the NFL saying, nah, we're done. Jets took the lead 32-29, game's over.
Although the network decides when to take breaks, right? Not NASCAR. I mean, that's...
Nope. It's all on the networks.
I was just I was convinced that's how it was going to end. Once they, once they went to the second overtime, I'm like, well, that's how it's going to end.
Let them race back. Honestly, everybody involved in the wreck can't win. Once you get to the final lap, just go. And the great finishes in Daytona 500 history. There was a wreck behind Mark Martin, and Harvick caught him. He traded paint down the stretch. Harvick beat him by a foot. It was awesome. I was rooting for Martin, but it was awesome. Oh, man, I thought Kyle Busch had it won. I thought his teammate was going to make sure. I thought his teammates were going to make sure that Logano wouldn't catch him. He had two Chevys behind him, including his teammate right behind him. And I figured if nothing else, they were going to make sure that Logano didn't pass him. He's going to try to play some more, but between his hip injury and his alcoholism, probably not. That's okay. Not as strange as the Jonathan Tays situation.
Right.
Love what the Leafs did. Still don't know they get out of the first round, but Well, that was what derailed him at the end of 2 seasons ago when he led him to the finals, and then he didn't play 2 years ago. He sent himself into treatment, but he's coming back from a hip injury, and they think it might be a degenerative thing, and not sure he'll be able to ever get back to being able to play. He played the one game. Well, I think he won the one game. It was partly why because remember, there was talk that the Canadians might put him on the expansion list, and he's from the Seattle area. He's from the Pacific Northwest, and that maybe the Kraken would draft him. But he basically said to the Canadians it'd be unfair to Seattle. I'm a mess. So they didn't put him on the list.
$30 seconds.
Morning.
What's up?
Trip go well?
Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
That was almost a little upper Midwest. Oh, yeah. This is dangerously close to that. Gotta watch your hard O sounds.
What's up, Pool? How's it going, Pool? All right, we'll come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, on this President's Day. Thanks for being with us, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Curious how many of you have off today? And if so, enjoy your 3-day weekend. Could be a time in which Super Bowl happened last night. We could get to that point. If they ever get to 18 games, it's where we think they're going. Super Bowl would have been last night. NASCAR would have a decision to make. Do they schedule Daytona on the off week in between conference championship games of the Super Bowl, or do they push it back to the end of February? But anyway.
Started at 1 and finish it before the Super Bowl starts.
Well, that'd be a problem the years Fox has it.
I understand.
Right. No, that'd be gutsy. I mean, I'm with you, though. Running the sport, there you go. Hell with the Super Bowl pregame. Watch our race instead. I like that. And I think Fox would be okay with that, actually, except for the years that they have the Super Bowl. They'd be like,
and they just wouldn't have the manpower.
Well, they could get the manpower. You can hire people. You can do it. All right. But the problem would be they would say to NASCAR, well, we're going to put the race on FS1, just so you know. Okay. So if you're okay with the race being on FS1, all right, schedule it Super Bowl Sunday. But just so you know, we're going to put, yes, we know, we got it. You've got action for 4 or 5 hours. They're sitting around talking about a game that's going to kick off. Don't know what to tell you. They're the NFL. You're not. They get Fox. You want FS1? Would you be okay with that? You're running NASCAR? Super Bowl Sunday. All right.
I would
you're on
probably
FS1.
put it on the off week.
Okay.
I couldn't lose a network for that, even if it's once every 3-4 years.
Fair enough. We'll get back to NASCAR in a bit. Todd Bodine, by the way, going to join us top of the 8 o'clock hour. He's raced in the 500 before. All right. He covered it for Fox. He'll join us. We'll talk more about it, whether or not the finish is okay or not. But you and many others, Mark, and I will say, good job by the folks on the PGA Tour and the Genesis Invitational on Saturday. Very smart. All right. LT Gray shoots a 3 over 74 on Friday. We thought the cold might get to him. All right. But he sneaks in on the cut line, right on the number. But normally that means he's teeing off, one of the first 4 or 5 groups off the tee. You'll be lucky if you see any of his shots, even on the Golf Channel, when they pick up coverage in the middle of the day. Genesis Invitational said, well, how about we just have everybody tee off at the same time? But, the leaders will go off the front and the also-rans will go off the back.
Worked out pretty well for the weekend for the boys at the Genesis. Got to a lot of Tiger Woods on CBS.
She did. Here he is on Saturday playing the best round of golf he's played in 4 years, and you're getting a chance to see it. Little 4 under 67. Then, of course, he shot a 2 over 73 yesterday. He said afterwards his leg bothered him more than he let on. And when asked how much more is he going to play, he goes, guys, it's going to be the majors and maybe a couple other events a year. That's it. That's all I got in me. Okay. All right. Right now, Mark, we see him before Augusta, yay or nay?
Yes, one time. And I can't tell you where, but I think he'll play one tournament before Augusta.
If Arnie was alive, it would have been Bay Hill.
Right, but that...
Right. So it might be the Players. Just, it's the biggest thing, the biggest tournament, the PGA Tour, Tigers, the commissioner of the tour. I mean, so, he probably should show up for their biggest event.
Well, there's an open parking spot. The defending champ can't be there. So
correct.
They can just change that and put for T Woods.
Which is funny because he literally can walk about 10 minutes from his house and play in the event. And he's the top 5 player in the world, but whatever. So what'd you think? Got a chance to see 4 days LT Gray, 2 rounds under par. He was pounding the ball out there, 300 plus.
Was amazed how well he hit the driver. Had some chipping woes yesterday.
Putting woes on Friday.
Did not putt well on Friday.
I mean, the putting bothered him more than the cold, really. I thought the cold was going to do him in. Not being able to make 4 and 5 footers is what did him in on Friday.
But all in all, they compared his 3 events last year to this year, the number of birdies versus all of that. I mean, it was, I think, a really good weekend for Tiger Woods.
Of course, a little easier, though, in all fairness. I mean, the 3 tournaments he played last year were the Masters, the PGA, and the Open Championship. I mean, Riviera did play. I mean, 17 under won Riviera.
But he's never played all that great there. So he played decently, shot a good round on Saturday. I thought it was really important to see a good round on the weekend, given the fact that last year it was everything to make the cut and there was nothing left by Saturday. I mean, he was out of gas just trying to get around the golf course on the weekends a year ago. So he played and played well on Saturday. I thought that was encouraging.
Wasn't that the first time he had played 4 rounds since 2020? Because remember, the car accident was February of 21. And I don't know if he had played a 4-round tournament yet in 21. And last year, well, no, he did 4 rounds at Augusta. He did. He limped home, barely breaking 80 on both rounds on the weekend. So that's true. He did do 72 at Augusta. Didn't make the cut at the Open Championship and withdrew after the 3rd round of the PGA. So it's only the 2nd time, really, since before the pandemic, I believe, that Tigers, or since the pandemic year anyway, that Tigers played 4 rounds. So, I mean, listen, nobody thinks he's going to win anything, right? But it was just nice to see him back.
Absolutely. And if that's what we get out of Tiger going forward, hey, I'm okay with it. Just seeing him out there, seeing some great shots. He made an eagle, get a couple of roars out there. That would be fantastic.
I mean, I will say, I understand short game woes at the Genesis. It's not like he doesn't know how to chip and putt those greens at Augusta. I mean, if you're Tiger right now and you say to him, listen, you're going to hit the ball the same way. In 7 weeks, you're going to hit the ball the same way. And your short game will come back between now and then. You know, you'll have your normal, not amazing like you're chipping in from behind the 16th green short game, but you'll bring a normal short game to Augusta and you'll hit the ball like you did at Riviera. And I'll bet you Tiger.
You would think he would contend.
Yes, I think Tiger says, well, I'll be in the top 20 then. Okay. I'll be there. I'll be there on the weekend. We can see what can happen.
And that's where the roars can scare other golfers. Because, well, we all know by now he has his own roar on that golf course.
Max Homa, the fourth best golfer in the world right now. I mean, if you're going, since the golfing world's kind of like the men's college basketball world, Mark. Purdue, Alabama, and Houston have been alternating as to who's going to be number one. Well, that's kind of Scheffler, Rory, and Rahm right now. But I think Homa's like Andy Murray back in the day in men's tennis. He's kind of raising his hand going, I know I haven't won a major yet, but I'm probably the fourth best golfer in the world.
Let's see if he can continue to play that well when he leaves the West Coast. Homa's best play is near home. He doesn't do as well when he gets away from California. So I'll reserve judgment on that until I see him continue this somewhere that's not California.
Fair enough. And I think the Florida swing starts this week, right? Don't they have the Honda this weekend? Meanwhile, the LIV begins in south of the border in Mexico, Mayakoba. Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Paul, what are you talking about? Virginia Tech beat Pitt. That's a funny line, Racer. Yes, Kevin Love was officially waived. And he has come out and said he's going to sign with Miami. Yeah, they engineered a buyout.
1 minute.
NBA is a weird league, man. I mean, they save probably less than $1 million, and he may go to a team that they have to play in the first round of the playoffs. It's a interesting league.
Yeah, I don't get the whole buyout just to.
I mean, I get save a little bit of money and what have you, but we all knew he was going to Miami. I mean, you could play them in the first round of the playoffs. Why in the world would you help them?
15 seconds. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Happy President's Day. If you got the day off today, well, keep it to your damn self.
Yeah, what are you doing up this early listening to us?
Right. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Todd Bodine to talk about the Daytona 500. Is it a controversial ending or was it just a messy one? We'll talk to Todd about that and a few other things coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. With what you may have missed yesterday and a few other things over the weekend, it is time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
I have to admit, Mark, on paper, sounded very exciting. 52 lead changes. Wow. Involving 21 drivers. It's over half the field. Damn. 8 caution flags, including 3 in the final 15 laps. Huh? And it ended on a caution. 212th and final lap. Most ever laps, by the way, in a Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had just pulled ahead of Joey Logano with the wreck behind him when the yellow flag came out. For Stenhouse, it's just his 3rd career win, first ever 500. Logano, who had won Daytona twice, says finishing second sucks. Didn't say that. I will say that's channeling your inner Earnhardt right there. Finishing second sucks.
Well, especially the way he did too.
Yeah.
Not knowing. I mean,
split second.
crazy.
He thought he may have been the winner. Right.
I thought he was, by the way.
I did too.
I initially thought Logano won.
Christopher Bell, 3rd. Chris Buescher, 4th. Buescher led the second most laps at 32. Brad Keselowski, who finished 22nd, he led the most laps, 42. He led 1 out of every 5 laps, basically, in the race. Our buddy Ross Chastain wrecked twice and still finished 9th. Kyle Busch, who had the lead with 3 laps to go when the cautions all started. Daniel Suarez spun out with 3 laps to go. Suarez finished 7th. Busch finishes 19th. I think Suarez cost Kyle Busch the 500. He had his teammate right behind him. He had another Chevy right behind him. Logano was 4th, and he was the only Ford in sight. I thought, if nothing else, Mark, I thought Richard Childress was going to win the 500. It was going to be Kyle Busch or his teammate. But I thought a Chevy was definitely going to be in victory lane with 3 laps to go. I mean, they ended up there anyway, but I thought, Kyle Busch, one of the best drivers to never win the 500.
And you're right. Before the spin out, it looks as if they had made the pass. They had the momentum. They were running 3 cars. You knew it was coming that way. They talked about they were just waiting their time, biding their time to make the run around the lead cars. And when they did, I thought Stenhouse and that first caution made a great move to get to the lead. However,
agreed. And apparently, some guys were better down low. Logano said, "Yeah, I was terrible down low. I had to stay up high." And he goes, "Should I have tried to block him? Maybe, but I thought if I did, I'd get wrecked. So I stayed up high and finished second, and second sucks." Great quote. Kevin Harvick, if it in fact is his last 500, he finished 12th. Martin Truex Jr., one of those Cup champions who has never won Daytona, finished 15th. Jimmy Johnson, surprisingly, contended after starting in the last row. Jimmy was in the top 10 late. Got caught up in a wreck, however, finished 31st. Todd Bodine in an hour to talk about Daytona. Some NFL news over the weekend you may have missed. Eric Bieniemy officially left Kansas City. He's now the new offensive coordinator in Washington. This is what interests me about that. Clearly, he is going to have 100% control of the offense. If that's the reason why he's not getting a head coaching job is because Andy Reid's getting all the credit and Bieniemy's not getting any. Well, if he turns Sam Howell or whoever the heck they're going to have at quarterback into a good quarterback and they win more games than they've won under Ron Rivera, yeah, he should get credit for that. Here's the thing that would worry me, though. Reportedly, the franchise is for sale. Snyder's looking for $7 billion. Well, last time I checked, there's a few people out there who want the franchise who have it. And Mark, what do new owners usually do when they come in?
New coaches.
Yeah.
New GMs.
People, right.
They do it their way.
Right. So that's the thing that concerns me there for Bieniemy. Never mind the fact that we mentioned he's going from Patrick Mahomes to Sam Howell. Hey, Rex Ryan may be returning to the league. And I know that's just what the NFL was missing. Rex hasn't been a part of the league since he got fired as the head coach of the Bills after the 2016 season. He's 60 now. And Sean Payton is apparently seriously considering him to be his defensive coordinator. He's one of the final 3 candidates he interviewed for the gig over the weekend. Aaron Jones, by the way, reworked his deal. He's returning to Green Bay. He cut $5 million off his salary from 16 down to 11. However, he took 8.5 of the 11 up front. I gave him a check. Here you go. So he saves him a bunch of room on the cap, but he's also basically already been paid for the year.
It's a lot better than getting cut.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he wasn't getting, I don't know if he would have been getting 11, might have somewhere else, but I don't think so.
I don't know. Especially since, do you know what the franchise tag is for running backs? 10. On the open market, you're going to give Aaron Jones more than 10? I don't think so. NBA had their All-Star weekend. Did you hear who won the slam dunk contest?
Yes.
Had you ever heard of him before?
No.
Well, there's a reason for that.
He was in the damn G League.
Thank you, Mark. Mac McClung. Big M, little C, big C. Mac McClung.
He was an internet sensation. His high school tape is viral.
Yeah, well, and that's why they invited him. But, I mean, literally, since they have so many people volunteering to be in the slam dunk contest, the NBA and the Sixers basically worked something out where the Sixers signed him last week. So since he's on the Sixers roster, he could be in the dunk contest. Then he went and he won it. You know how many games Mac McClung has played in his NBA career? 2 more than Miller and Moulton. 2. But he's the slam dunk champion. You know, Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, Mac McClung.
Right. And I watched the highlights of it. He was great.
Oh, no, he was.
He didn't miss a single dunk. That helps.
No, he was excellent. He was outstanding. He's Mac McClung. Right. That's all.
Left winger for the Calgary Flames.
I think he was a throw-in the Tyler Mott deal yesterday between Ottawa and the Rangers. Damian Lillard won the 3-point contest. We've heard of him. And Team Giannis beat Team LeBron. Giannis played less than a minute.
Yeah, he came in, got a pass, made a dunk, fouled a guy, and took himself out.
Exactly. So you could tell that right wrist is bothering him. So that bears watching, after all. But Team Giannis beat Team LeBron. Jason Tatum with an all-star record, 55 points. I don't know what's more impressive, the 55 points or the 35 minutes. Who the hell plays 35 minutes in an all-star game? 2 other notes off the court, if you will, Mark. Kevin Love officially released by Cleveland. He's publicly announced, I'm signing with Miami. Listen, about the only thing Love can do anymore is hit the short corner 3. You know what Miami needs? People who can hit threes. So, okay, we'll see if it helps. I could use some scoring. And did you hear what Kevin Durant said right as All-Star Weekend was beginning?
Yeah, that was quite a quote.
I was asked about, players like you getting up and demanding trades and changing teams. And he said, quote, yeah, it's great for the league, unquote. I think the league and its fans have a different version of great than Kevin Durant. But, Hey, John Rahm back to being number 1. Like the World Golf Ranking knows what it's doing. I mean, anyway. But Rahm's won 3 of 6 tournaments on the PGA Tour this year. And if you go back to how he finished last year, he's won 6 of the last times he's teed it up. So, yeah, I'd say he's number 1 in the world. He won the Genesis Invitational at Riviera at 17 under. Excuse me. He was 2 better than Max Homa. Tiger, 2 rounds under par, the first and third, 2 under 69, 4 under 67. Second round, 3 over 74. Final round, 2 over 73. He finished 1 under. Patrick Cantlay, third. Will Zalatoris was fourth. By the way, the LIV adding more PGA Tour players. Remember Thomas Peters, who couldn't get in the Genesis, ranked 34th in the world? Well, he's not going to play in any more PGA tournaments either because Thomas Peters, Brendan Stock, and Danny Lee. Brendan Steele, excuse me. Can't read my own writing. Thomas Peters, Brendan Steele, Danny Lee. They joined Mito Pereira and Sebastian Munoz. So 5 PGA Tour players in the last week or so have left to go to the LIV Tour. And LIV makes its season debut at Mayakoba in Mexico this weekend. A fair question is better field, the Honda or Mayakoba?
It'll be close.
I say edge Mayakoba. XFL played over the weekend, Mark. 3 close games decided by 2, 3, and 4 points, but the Orlando Guardians stink. They lost to the Houston Roughnecks 33-12. Come on, guys. Pick it up.
All right. How much did you watch?
I watched 10 minutes, and here's why. They had an official's review during most of the 10 minutes. It was fascinating. Blandino live viewing a controversial, was it an interception or was it a touchdown? Was it joint possession? And they showed it live. It was great television. And I disagreed with the call. I thought it was clear the defender had the interception in his left arm when he hit the ground, but they ruled it a basically simultaneous possession and offensive touchdown. But it was fascinating. Let me tell you, we would love it as NFL fans if they showed us the replay folks looking through the replays, commenting about what they see. Hey, show me that again. Does he have it there? Is his knee down? It was great television. I don't know if I saw anything else after that. College hoops, Houston's going to be number 1 later today. They beat Memphis. 3rd-ranked Purdue whooped up on Ohio State. You know, North Carolina's yet to beat a Quad 1 team.
They're 0-9 against Quad 1 teams. Did I see that right?
You did. NC State beat them by 8 yesterday. Cincy beat UCF by 2. Give it up for the Northwestern. They whooped up on Iowa yesterday by 20. I mean, they'd be. How about the week for Northwestern? Purdue, Indiana, and Iowa. Boom, boom, boom. Women's hoops, South Carolina forced to overtime before beating Ole Miss, but they are 27-0. Florida lost to LSU. Florida State beat Georgia Tech. Hockey, 7 games. None of them involve anybody you like, really. Edmonton blew a 3-goal lead for the 3rd straight game, though. That hasn't been done in like forever. There was a big trade over the weekend. Toronto picking up Ryan O'Reilly from St. Louis. All just trying to get out of the first round. And Jonathan Tays, in all seriousness, said, listen, I'm sick. I got effects from COVID, and something's wrong with my immune system, and I can't be traded. I'm not a healthy person. One other note. Major League Baseball announced yesterday we're going to create an economic reform committee. In the wake of all the money Steve Cohen of the Mets is spending and the RSN woes, we're creating an economic reform committee. David Sampson, who will be on the show tomorrow, tweeted out, if this is taken seriously, it'll be the most important thing Rob Manfred does as commissioner. So there. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that gentleman was...
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
An
By the way,
economic reform committee, huh?
Yeah, in a sport that doesn't have a salary cap.
Right.
And is proud to not have one. So how are you going to do this? I believe it's called capitalism, right? I mean, that's their thing, right? All the others have a salary cap of some kind. Their big thing is capitalism.
And a tax.
Right. I mean, wasn't that the reform? Hey, you spend over this, we're going to tax something out of you.
Miller and Moulton. Lots to talk about in the baseball world with David Sampson tomorrow. Todd Bodine to talk NASCAR at 8 o'clock. Miller and Moulton.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Wow. Yeah. I'll text him today. Those TV numbers are incredible, by the way, David. 10th in the country.
I loved the two of the bottom three, though. I mean, top 56 television markets in the country. And the worst market in the country for the Super Bowl.
I'm not surprised.
I'd text him now. He's up.
Well, he might be out there.
No, that's true.
Because he had sent a tweet out that he was leaving Jackson Hole going to Denver.
Gotcha. Well,
for a meeting.
There you go. Gotcha.
So he may still be there.
For a meeting.
That was on the 16th. He could be back.
Apparently, it was made official Saturday, I guess.
Oh, it's official that he took it?
Yeah, it's official. I missed it. Actually, it was announced Friday, late. Guy who covers the team for ESPN did the story, according to league and team sources.
Oh, wow. What did McCaffrey? McCaffrey threw a nutty in that game. Kind of had to be held back in the Northwestern Iowa game. I don't know why.
Imagine that. Fran McCaffrey.
Throwing a nutty.
Iowa fans I've talked to do not like that from their coach.
30 seconds. Mark, did you also just get that? Are you still watching notification? Yeah. 10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this President's Day. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hope you had a good weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Felipe is back. We'll hear from him next segment with the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day. Plus, also, we'll get the full scouting report. Big weekend with his girlfriend's family. Out of town. Meeting the brothers. Uh-oh. Does he look battered and bruised?
He looks all right. I will say it's, a lot of folks in the last 3 days wanting the poll question day to be who should be the producer of the show. Roger, Cole, or Felipe. You lost
out of sight, out of mind, buddy.
Yeah, very much so with some of the audience. There's no doubt there. But for the Clutch Play of the Day, that's about the only thing bringing him back.
So we'll see what it is, and we'll hear from Felipe next segment, get the full scoop as to how it went, whether or not the relationship has survived, okay, that whole deal. I tried to get us up to date on things that not only just happened yesterday, but that kind of sort of happened, over the last 72 hours, things you may have missed. Well, I missed something. And a buddy of mine had texted it to me right at the end of the starting 5 there and said, hey, you missed your buddy Mike Westhoff's unretiring. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? You got to text him. You got his number. Apparently, the guy who said, oh, no, I'm done. He ain't done. Sean Payton got a gig. Remember, he worked for Sean in New Orleans.
And Sean really likes him, and he really likes Sean a lot.
Right. And, Sean wanted him to stay in New Orleans. And Mike's like, come on, I'm in my 70s. I'm done. There's like 3 special teams plays a game. I don't need to do this. I got a bad hip. I'm going to write a book. No. Just let me go to Southwest Florida and hang out, play golf. Well, once you fix the hip, write the book, play golf for a couple of years, Sean Payton calls you up and says, what do you say? It's like, yeah, all right, come to think of it. Sure. So I'll tell you what, this is the job we all want. He's assistant head coach, and he's assisting the special teams coach. Basically, the head coach wants him there. And he gets to come in when he wants, say what he wants, and do what he wants. That's what the job sounds like to me. And Mark, there's the possibility that Sean's going to hire Rex Ryan to be the defensive coordinator. Doesn't Hard Knocks have to go to Denver?
I think so. Obviously, they won't because the first-time coach gets you off the list.
Change the rules. Change the rules. You're the National Football League. You do it all the time.
It is a Hard Knocks greatest hits between Rex Ryan and Mike Westhoff.
Done. If you can just somehow cue Rex up to go have a snack. I don't know how they do it. Okay, remember that big fiery team speech, and he ended it by saying, now let's go have a damn snack. Okay, you don't have to threaten me, Coach.
Never have to threaten us for a snack. We're always ready for a snack.
Okay. Didn't know a snack could be so angry, but okay.
That was definitely a defensive lineman snack, looking back upon it.
So don't we have to, get NFL Networks that's got no programming. Don't you just mic up Denver? Between Sean Payton, Mike Westhoff, and Rex Ryan, let's do this. Have it be an alternate channel during the games. We'll just mic them up.
I'm stunned he talked Westhoff into coming back.
I know. Well, he's got all that Walmart money. I'll bet. How many times do you think we're going to get Mike on? Okay. That is your mission in life. All right. We have to get Westhoff on between now and training camp. And we'll just an over-under of 5. How many times Peyton had to ask him to unretire? I'm going over. I'll bet you Mike said no every day for like 2 weeks. And Sean probably just kept throwing another $50,000 on top of the pile.
Now I've got to root for Denver.
Oh, I'm in.
Now I've got to root for Denver. That's what happens. That's what happens in this world. I'm a Red Wing fan. My least favorite team was first the Blackhawks, who used to beat the Red Wings, and then the Colorado Avalanche, who beat up on the Red Wings, and they beat up on one another. And then all of a sudden, a guy I know is the head coach there. I find myself rooting for the Colorado Avalanche.
Right. First off, do you think Russell Wilson, Sean might have to pull Westhoff aside and go, listen, you can say anything to anybody except the quarterback. Okay. He's a little sensitive. Okay. I'm trying to rebuild his confidence. Okay. Just leave the quarterback to me. Because can you imagine if Sean lets Westhoff talk to Russell Wilson the way he wants to talk to Russell Wilson? Remember, he's assisting the special teams, but he's an assistant to the head coach. There ain't nothing he can't comment about.
Correct.
This is Mike Westhoff.
Love to see Russ bring in one of his crew members there, his entourage, and see how Westhoff would react to that in the locker room.
Did you see Westhoff? Okay. I don't even know if he's familiar with the whole phrase, let Russ cook. Imagine if we tell him about that and say, so listen, when he's screwing up, you need to attack his cooking. Oh, my goodness. Westhoff will just go off one day at camp. I heard something. You said you wanted to cook. You couldn't cook eggs with the way you're playing. And then that'll start. There we go. The wide receivers will be cracking up. Tell you what. Oh, man. Can we take a trip? I know it doesn't really work with the Florida Sports Network, but can we do 3 days at Broncos camp? Golly. Sean Payton, Rex Ryan, Mike Westhoff. I don't even know if I care about the games. Man, can we just get cameras and microphones where we need cameras and microphones?
And Rex coming back. He's been out now since when was the last game he coached?
2016 season. He got fired. I think he went 8-8 with Buffalo. They got rid of him and brought in McDermott and company in 2017. So he's been out of the league 6 full seasons. Westhoff 75, Rex is 60. Now, Rex hasn't been officially hired yet. But apparently he's the leading candidate for the defensive coordinator job. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, Denver's going to blitz like crazy. That's all Rex wants to do. So you got the mad scientist as head coach, Sean Payton. Okay. You got Westhoff, who's just, a walking blog. And then you got Rex, who's just, send another guy. Coach, we sent 8 on that last play. Well, can we send 9?
Right now, Westhoff's trying to figure out if his kicker can kick it high enough to land on the goal line right now. How high can you – I know you can kick it out of the end zone. What I want to know is, can you let it hang up in the air for an hour and a half? That's what's important to me.
I could hear him now. I've always dreamed about being the special teams coach in altitude. There's always things I thought I could do.
Do you know what we can do with punt coverage now?
Man, oh, man. Listen, if I'm Netflix, I'm committing right now. If Rex Ryan gets hired as defensive coordinator, I'm committing right now to the 2023 Denver Broncos, a year in the life. I am. Absolutely. I mean, what's the network? I mean, somebody followed the Arizona Cardinals last year. Was it Showtime or whatever?
Was it Showtime or was it HBO that did a Hard Knocks in season, if you will?
Right. Yeah. HBO.
It was HBO.
Okay. Well, you got to do it on Denver. I mean, for goodness sakes, people actually watch that. And they could be, if they're 5-12, it'd be phenomenal. I mean, anything. 12-5, 5-12, anything in between.
No, really, 5-12 or 12-5. Anything in between won't be nearly as exciting, David. When you really step back and look at it, one or the other would be outstanding.
Man. Can you imagine the trash talking Rex, Sean Payton, and Mike Westhoff will do if they start winning on the sidelines? Oh, my goodness.
Well, and obviously, Sean's convinced they're going to win and win now.
No doubt. Of course, the great thing is with Westhoff, he is just, I mean, he'll turn and look at Rex. Imagine they blitz and they give up a touchdown. Westhoff will go right by him and go, you should go back to ESPN. That blank ain't working.
The coaches can't play, but it's certainly going to make it interesting in Denver this year.
Golly, I'm so fired up. I can't wait. Now I want Rex to get the job. I think it'd be a huge mistake. 6 years, that's a long time. I don't know if his style of defense would still work. Maybe it'd work more. I mean, who knows? I mean, there are people I talk to who think that the old Buddy Ryan defense with this whole mobile quarterback and wanting to run the quarterback more, there are a lot of people that I've talked to who have said what you should do is just blow up the quarterback on every play. You don't even worry about it. Just keep blowing up the quarterback. Do it for the whole first quarter. Trust me, they'll stop. So maybe his defense would actually be pretty effective, more effective. So, but I saw that during the commercial break. Our buddy Mike Westhoff is back. Oh my goodness. I'm more excited about that than wherever the hell Aaron Rodgers ends up. I got to be honest.
Well, he's come out from the darkness now.
Well, Rodgers or Westhoff?
Well, both. And Derek Carr talked to the Jets over the weekend, apparently, as well. So that's...
I know. He spent the weekend with them. You ever been to Florham Park, New Jersey? I mean, I love Jersey. I'm from Jersey. There's a golf course at Florham Park. It's a nice little country club course. Okay? There's no reason to spend a weekend, though. Got to be honest.
In February?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one overnight, 2 tops. Fly in late on Friday, do dinner, spend the whole day Saturday. I'll take the early morning flight out Sunday. That's it.
But they didn't want to let him leave. That's the way you got to do these things. You got to keep enticing him to get that contract signed. Miller and Moulton, always good for an overnight or two, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So according to this website, there are 4 teams that are eligible for the preseason Hard Knocks show. The Bears, the Jets, the Saints, and the Commanders. Out of those 4, which interests you the most?
The Bears.
I think so too.
Unless, well, I'd like to know who the Jets quarterback is.
Bears or Jets, for sure.
So it's Bears, Jets, Saints, Commanders are the 4 teams eligible for Hard Knocks?
Correct. Because it hasn't been chosen yet, what Hard Knocks will be.
How come the Giants are not one of the teams? The Giants have never been one of those shows.
I guess because they made the
playoffs last year.
Yeah, because they made the playoffs.
Oh, so if you made the playoffs, you're excluded?
I think, but
I think so too.
I think.
Okay. Because the Giants have called in chips to not be Hard Knocks before. That's how much they don't want it.
But then I'm assuming because they started the in-season Hard Knocks, which starts in week 13, I believe. Not this past season, the season before with the Colts, but the Colts made the playoffs the year prior, and then they did it with the Cardinals this year, and they made the playoffs last year. So I'm assuming that they do the in-season Hard Knocks with a team that made the playoffs last year, which maybe they do the Giants. We'll see. Maybe they do the Dolphins. Since they made the playoffs.
You got the pod ready?
Yes, sir.
DC, let me ask you this. What do you think the Bears could get more for? Justin Fields or the first overall pick of the draft? I would argue it's for the first overall pick. Because Fields has already put in 2 years, which means you're a year away from having to pick up his fifth-year option, number one, and you're 2 years away from having to pay him, in theory. I actually think the first overall pick's more valuable. Unless there's somebody out there who's just absolutely convinced that Justin Fields would be a star.
$30 seconds.
It's funny, okay.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Happy President's Day. We're working. Hope you don't have to. But if so, well, hope your week gets off to a good start and hope we are doing our part. Todd Bodine, who raced in the Daytona 500, helped cover the sport for Fox. He will join us at the top of the hour, looking back at a wreck-filled finish and finishing under caution. Whether or not we should do that. We'll talk to Todd Bodine about that coming up in about 40 minutes' time. Hey, I did something over the weekend I'd never done before. I broadcast a college basketball game with Artis Gilmore as the analyst.
Whoa.
The pride of Jacksonville University, led them to the national championship game back in, I think it was 1970. They lost to Wooden and UCLA during one of the years in between us. But he took Jacksonville all the way to the championship game. He's a Hall of Famer. And Mark, I thought of you. I thought of you throughout the whole broadcast.
I love me some Artis Gilmore.
Well, I mean, this is right up our alley here. I mean, that is a big man, by the way.
I remember working an FGCU game years ago and against JU, and Artis was doing color for them, and he came down. He's huge.
He's 73 years old now, and he's still 7 feet tall. I mean, he was a little over 7 feet. I mean, I don't know. That's a pretty high altitude there. I mean, he may still be 7'2" for all I know, but I can certainly attest to the 7-foot part. It's a big man. And we did a game together, the JU women on senior day, and they rallied to win in overtime. It was exciting. And but I thought of you because, and we've told the story before, is that when I first got together with Troy Aikman, all right, Troy apparently has a good friend named Mark Moulton. And so Troy didn't know me from Adam. I was kind of thrust upon him. And so, hey, what's your name? David Moulton. And the Moulton part set in. So for the first 2 games we did together, he called me Mark. I didn't know why. But the second game we're doing together, I text Mark and I go, hey, just so you know, you're working with Aikman. And you're like, what the heck? And I go, he's been calling me Mark the whole game. Okay. And I just think it's hysterical because of all the names, it's yours, So Artis is used to working with a guy named Scotty. He's the regular play-by-play guy. And so, Artis the first couple times is really good. Well, David, and then he goes right in. It's kind of like when we interview somebody and they use our names. It's kind of like, yeah, there you go. Way to reach out, make us feel like, we're closer than we really are. But, once the game gets going and, the flow of it and what have you, and you're just going with the comments. Well, Scotty, and that starts in about the second quarter because women's basketball, they do by quarters. And it's Artis Gilmore. I mean, it's a Hall of Famer. I'm on his turf. We're at Jacksonville. His number's right up there on the wall. Did I mention he's Hall of Famer? Did I mention he's 7 feet tall? Okay. So, let it go on. And what I thought was every time we came back from commercial, I channeled my inner Joe Buck. You know how Joe would say, Joe Buck with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. So it's the first time I've ever had a chance to go David Moulton here courtside with the Hall of Famer Artis Gilmore. Figuring one of those times he'll go, oh, yeah.
He would hear you say your name.
David, right. Well, Scotty. So mid-fourth quarter, during the break, I just kind of leaned over. I had written my name down on a piece of paper, and I just kind of pointed at it. And he went, oh, my goodness, I've been calling you Scotty. And I go, yeah. I go, but ever since you started calling me Scotty, the home team started playing better. And now they're winning. I go, so I say we go with it. He goes, you're on. So we come back, and he goes, hey, Scotty, okay, I know your name's David, okay, but I've been calling you Scotty. But since we're now winning, how about if I call you Scotty David the rest of the game? I said, fine. So that's what we were for the rest of the game. Scotty David with the Hall of Famer Artis Gilmore.
Well, that's, you know what? It's easier to spell than Moulton. They misspell your last name all the time.
Totally. So, the home team rallied to win in overtime. So, Scotty David it is.
All right, Scotty David. I like it. Time now for our play of the day, brought to you by Clutch Vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Felipe back from the big city. Went to New York for the weekend. He's got his Brooklyn Nets t-shirt on today.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, what did you expect?
Well, they're giving those away now. I bet it was $4.
Yeah, it's a Kyrie jersey. It was on clearance rack. I'll take that. $20.
Did they give you the 20?
So what do we got today, Felipe?
All right, we had two powerhouses last night. And no, I'm not talking about the NBA All-Star game. I'm talking about the Oilers and the Avalanche. Mikko Rantanen with the game-winning goal in overtime. Final seconds left in overtime.
Copper wins it again. Back for Devontae. High in the zone. Now Mikko Rantanen has it. Rantanen, top of the circle. Cuts to the middle. Rantanen has room to shoot. Rantanen, he scores! The Moose is loose! And you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here because this party is over! The Avalanche, like Lazarus, have come back from the dead, and once again, for the second time this season, they have beat the Edmonton Oilers in overtime.
The Moose is loose.
Like Lazarus, they have come back from the dead? Wow.
I think that's Connor McGahey. That's his thing.
I really like that call. That was a good one.
He threw as many cliches as you could get into one close there.
He did. But last year it was Avs and Lightning in the finals. He had Connor McGahey and Michigan radio calls going back and forth.
Spectacular. Our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Check them out wherever you look for your vodka. And check them out online at clutchspirits.com.
Avs were down 3 goals in that game.
Third game in a row, Edmonton's blown a 3-goal lead and lost. It hasn't been done in like over 30 years.
Look, I would really like Edmonton to do well because it's fun watching Connor McDavid play. But Ken Holland has not served that team well, not well enough, with having the star and another superstar on the team.
They were talking about it last week, Mark, how the NHL is the anti-NBA. Nobody demands a trade. And nobody threatens to hold out, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to stay home, and I'm not going to play for you. And really, I mean, you got to go back to the 90s. I mean, Messier did it in Edmonton. Messier let him know, I'm not staying here for a rebuild. I won't play for you. You better trade me. That's how he ended up in New York. And there were stars in the 90s who pulled an NBA and did it, but it really hasn't happened, Mark, in like 25 years in the NHL. And they're wondering if in Edmonton and a few other places, if their GMs continue to only help put a mediocre product on the ice. Like, because McDavid signed long-term there. I mean, Edmonton doesn't have to do a thing. They're like, you're under contract and, suck it up.
We'll see, because they started blowing. I mean, if St. Louis blew it up already, we'll see if some other teams make some moves, if there's something to be had for Edmonton at the deadline. I think it's March 3rd, the NHL trade deadline. So a couple of weeks left as they'll start. It's already started with both the Rangers and Leafs making moves to make their teams better in the last week or so.
Now, nobody thinks McDavid's getting traded this year, but just the thought of if it continues, where like Edmonton's a wild card team right now. They're okay. They're not great. And if this continues for another year or so, when does Connor McDavid say, you know what, I'm wasting my career here? Get me the heck out of here.
It's as anti-hockey gets. It's just not something players do. But could you blame McDavid?
And if you're the league, wouldn't you want him out of Edmonton? I mean, let's be honest.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, do hockey players ask for new coaches?
No.
I was gonna say DC. Like, it's rare that even NBA players do that. It happens sometimes. So, David, You grew up watching Artis Gilmore play basketball.
Totally.
Did you ever have a moment in the broadcast where it's like, holy shit, that's Artis Gilmore?
Well, we actually had something happen early in overtime where a player fell and was hurt, and they had to stop play, and an ambulance had to be called, and so we had a long delay.
Oh my.
And I asked him, were you ever involved in anything like this as a player? And he said, well, believe it or not, I was the injured player. And he told a story about being in Utah, and I think it was John Drew who put up a shot and came over the top and hit him with an elbow and broke his eye socket.
Oh.
And he was the one on the ground, and he said, it was very painful. I couldn't see.
Oh, man.
And when he said Utah, I said Mark Eaton. And he goes, no. He goes, actually, it wasn't Eaton.
Right. Another Giant, by the way.
I remember his first year when he went from Chicago to San Antonio. The Spurs went to the conference finals, took on the Lakers. Had Artis Gilmore and George Gervin.
Versus Kareem and Magic?
Kareem, Magic. I think it was Worthy's rookie year, because I think it was the 83 season.
Now that's like film that I would watch. That seems like an interesting matchup right there.
You had Riley with the slick down hair. You had Stan Allback with the big fro. Remember Stan Allback, Mark, with the fro?
I do not.
He was the head coach of the Spurs.
I figure it's past 7:30. I sent West off the text.
Yeah, it's
by the way, from talking to Raj, Haney, total loss of voice, has to go through speech therapy in the hole.
Like Haney down the hall?
Yeah, had a stroke.
Oh.
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Well, didn't Stan have a heart attack?
Yeah, about a month before that.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's right. That Lakers team then went and got swept by Moses, Julius, and the Sixers.
That was 83.
Mm-hmm. I think that was Artis's first year in San Antonio. I thought he got traded from Chicago after the 82 season. I did tell him, though, I remember they used to do a best of 3 in the first round, and the Bulls went into the Garden and they swept the Knicks 2-0. And I remember him totally outplaying a rookie Bill Cartwright in game 1. Just totally taught him how to play basketball.
You're absolutely right. The 82-83 season was his first season in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's my senior year of high school. I remember a lot from that year.
He went to Boston?
Yeah, he was on the 88 Celtics that lost in the finals. He was a very end of his career. Hardly played.
It's crazy. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll get back to talking Daytona 500 at the top of the hour when Todd Bodine from Fox joins us. We've talked a little Tiger today. He played 4 rounds. What do you say? Best he's looked since the car accident?
Absolutely. Without question. Drove the ball incredibly well for the whole weekend. If he drives the ball like that at Augusta, people will be fired up.
A revamped Augusta. I think they made changes to 5 and 13 again. They keep making 5 harder. It's the hardest damn hole in the course.
Well, specifically lengthening it too, because the green is so difficult to hit with all the different tiers and hills and knobs that go to the 5th green. And now they're trying to press them back even further behind that fairway bunker where they have to do a little more club into it.
I did have to laugh. I think it was Saturday at Riviera. Do you remember back in the day? I mean, you used to hit mid-iron into 18 at Riviera. Rahm had 112 yards Saturday.
They interviewed Tiger after and showed him when he was 16 playing, the difference in the swing, and Tiger comments, well, that guy's hips move a little bit better. I was mesmerized by the club. I wasn't watching the swing. I was looking at the club head and the difference in the club head.
You mean the persimmon?
Right.
With the steel shaft? I just remember, man, 18, tough driving hole, probably got 5 iron for some of the shorter hitters, 4 iron in, the green and the hill and the slope. Rom's going, what's the most lofted thing you got in there? Give me that. I got a $112 in. It's 18 at Riviera. Damn. Game's changed a little bit. Hey, you asked me something earlier, and I know you're not going to watch, and I'm probably not going to watch either. Hell, Andrew Brandt came out and said, I make my living with football. I'm not watching any spring football, okay? He said, I was involved in 2 spring football leagues when I was working in the NFL. We didn't really pay much attention to it when we were spending money on it. So I'm not going to do it now. And he says, I don't think anyone will ever watch spring football unless the NFL literally ties itself to it. Then he thinks that, that we might get some named players and young development guys, etc. But anyway, so the XFL kicked off over the weekend. Have no idea if any of you watched. It was 4 games. They were readily available. ESPN and its family of networks, and I think FX aired a game. But there are a lot of microphones and a lot of cameras. They've got a sideline reporter on every sideline, Mark. They're interviewing players right as they come off the field. I mean, they're trying to basically NASCAR-ize, all right, the football coverage.
Which is something you and I have advocated for as long as we've known one another. It's one of the great things about NASCAR. They're on a caution, and they're literally going down to talk to a driver.
Well, and yesterday even, for as much as I hated how the race ended, in that second to last caution there, and we're going to try to do the green, white checker thing and finish this off, they go and they're interviewing the crew chiefs.
Right.
Live as they're making their last caution lap. Well, what's the strategy? Well, we took the low side. Okay. We think we got help with a teammate behind us, and then they go to the other one. Well, we run better on the high side, so we're good. And we know so-and-so will push us. And, we're just hoping we can finish this thing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you and I have talked about it. It's the equivalent of kneeling in the on-deck circle with Jeter, as they're facing, whoever the heck, Knobloch, whoever's hitting in the head of them and going, listen, what do you think about facing this guy? Well, he usually busts me inside with fastballs. I mean, imagine if we had those interviews. So that's number one that they were trying to do. Okay, it's spring football. You got to do that stuff. But they copied what the AAF did, Mark. All right. The AAF, which was only around for like 7 games.
David, just quick pause. The AAF?
Yeah.
Is the, what was that again? The American.
I don't know. The F, I'm pretty sure, stood for football, but I don't. I just know they owe me money. Okay, so that's
okay.
It's the only reason I can remember.
The AAF,
right? Okay,
that owes David money. Okay, right. Sorry.
Yeah, me and 7,000 other people on the list. So
the Alliance of American Football.
There it is.
All right.
Hey,
they owe me money. So.
The hell is that?
What they did was they had cameras and microphones in the replay booth. And the person who was in charge of replay was saying, okay, give me that angle again, what have you. And you got to see and hear the replay official communicate with the television network and see the replays that they were looking at as they were looking at them. Well, in this case, it's Dean Blandino. I mean, this guy was in charge of NFL officiating. It's him and Mike Pereira at Fox. Okay, and Blandino's taking us through live because he's the guy ultimately deciding the call. And he is taking us through it step by step. You know, the NFL is always looking to try to get better. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Mark, what is the NFL?
It's an entertainment product.
And it's a television product. Well, you can't do better than that. I mean, we all hate the length of replays, right? We hate it. Blandino, by the way, they were about to line up for the extra point, and they go to the booth, and Blandino says, no, we got to stop this and take a look at this. So that in and of itself right there, you're like, well, there we go. Okay. We're not going to have happen here what's happened late in the NFL postseason. Okay, they're going to take a look at this play. And then Blandino took us through. I'm really torn. I mean, he openly said, he goes, if they had ruled this an interception, I couldn't overturn it. But they ruled it a touchdown. I don't think I can overturn that either. And then he even mentioned, he goes, we've been at this a long time. We got to make a decision. I'm just going to stick with the call because I haven't seen any. I can't overturn this. I wouldn't even know what to overturn it. So, but there we go. And you lost track of how long it was. And it was over 2 minutes. And now normally, if the replay official's looking at a call for over 2 minutes, we at home are like, oh, for goodness sakes, make a decision already. What more do you need to see?
Well, that gets to the point, too, when they've gone that long that we think for sure the call is going to be overturned as well. The longer it goes, the likelihood is it's going to be changed. At least that's what's in our heads.
And I know the NFL walks this fine line of never want to be seen as copying anyone. We are the leaders. We are better and above everything. And you all, well, you're all minor league, and we're not adopting any ideas from you. But the fact of the matter is the NFL took a lot from the XFL 22 years ago. I mean, the camera angles, microphones, a couple of the rule changes. I mean, they actually, for a league that was around a year, they actually took a lot from it, particularly in television. And you asked me, how much of the XFL did I watch this weekend? I watched 10 minutes, and 6 of the 10 minutes were 2 replays being looked at.
Now, did you, just out of curiosity, were you on Twitter and saw that there was a replay and wanted to see it, or did you just happen to catch it at that time? Because I saw that highlight on whether it's a 4-letter network or wherever. I know the play of which you speak because they showed that highlight a lot.
No, actually caught it live. Was flipping through the channels and went, I'll be damned, Orlando's playing. And threw it on. And it was like 3rd and 15, and Paxton Lynch throws it deep down the sideline. And the announcer goes, intercepted. Touchdown.
Well, that'll get you going.
Right. And I'm like, well, okay. Now I'm kind of curious, which is it? But it was good television, Mark. And also, in this day and age of gambling, how much money was legally bet on the Super Bowl in this country? $16 billion. Basically, the value of the NFL annually was bet on the Super Bowl. And we're only going to have more of it because only more and more states are approving legalized gambling. And Mark, what is the one thing that we have said, the only thing seemingly that can take down the National Football League would be whether or not we question the authenticity of the games being played. as long as the American public is convinced that these games are on the up and up, it's difficult to imagine that this league is not going to be the 800-pound gorilla for the rest of our lives.
And as you said, what other way to have the authenticity of the call than to be right in the booth while it's happening?
And yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we all say some things. I mean, heck, we may see the replay process. Like, I disagreed with Blandino. Blandino was convinced he didn't have a good look at it. And I'm yelling at the TV, by the way. Yes, that's right. I'm yelling at the TV of an XFL game. And I'm like, Dean, he's got it in his left arm right there when he hits the ground. And they never froze it at that moment when he hit the ground. They always waited like an additional half roll. And I'm like, look, the defender's got it in his left arm. So even though Blandino took me through the whole thing and what have you, I'm still disagreeing with it, but I at least know that the decision he made, he was very authentic in what he was saying and doing. And he was torn by it. He's like, guys, I should be able to, know whether or not this is a touchdown or an interception. And I'm looking at all these and I can't tell. So I got to stick with the original call. And then the announcer, after the official makes the call, the announcer asks him and said, so are you saying if it was ruled an interception, you would have confirmed that? He said, yes. I had to go with the call on the field. Huh. Okay. From a fan standpoint, from a betting standpoint, don't you think that would help the NFL and college football also going forward?
Well, I think it makes for great television. I mean, anytime you get more insight. Why are these docuseries doing so well, whether it's Drive to Survive or Full Swing? Because we're getting access to things we don't normally get. To get access to things that we normally don't get in real time, David, would be spectacular for the television product.
I mean, I didn't watch the football. I mean, I saw the play. I literally happened to flip to it 5 seconds before the play happened. And then I watched the whole replay thing and them explaining it and what have you. And then they stayed with it long enough. I heard the interviews on the side. They interviewed the receiver and they interviewed the defensive back. And the DB's like, well, I had it. And then when they rolled over, he kind of wrestled it from me. But he said, when we hit the ground, I thought I had it. And the receiver, by the way, is apparently came back. He problems with drugs. So they went in quickly to his story. He was, out of football for the last year and a half, nearly lost his family. Now here he is back, trying to put his life back together and what have you. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is a hell of an 8 minutes of television right here. Damn.
You caught their Emmy reel, David. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes. I don't know if we need to show the rest of the season. I just say we take the 4 winners from week 1, put them in the playoffs now. Let's go. Semifinals and finals. Call it a day.
Did you watch the XFL over the weekend? Probably should be our poll question today.
Are we still doing that? We did it last week.
5 for 5.
I know. 4 for 4 early. We're about midway through the show on Friday. We're about midway through the show here on Monday. Want to ask people what they watch? Tiger, Daytona 500, XFL?
I'm more curious of how many watch the XFL. I really am.
Okay.
Because it's football all the time. That's all you ever talk about. And I don't mean you, David. I mean our audience. When we go out, when I see people, oh, now that football's over, what are you talking about? We talk about football because that's what people want.
Right. Right, that old Darrell Royal line. We got 2 seasons here in Texas, football and spring football.
That's right. We will talk more football in the 8 o'clock hour. Newly hired assistant head coach of the Denver Broncos, Mike Westhoff, to join us in about 40 minutes.
That's phenomenal.
That's how he rolls. He'll join us at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour. Todd Bodine to talk more Daytona 500 coming up here in about 7 or 8 minutes as David yelled at the television during the XFL game and yelled at the television during the Daytona 500. We'll find out if either of those yells were warranted. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I love him. Congratulations on the new job. When you heading to Denver full time? Wednesday. Maybe I'd come on with you guys for a few minutes. That was his answer. I didn't even ask.
I just love him, I swear.
I said, how about tomorrow at 8:38 or today at 8:38? He goes, today would be great. You've got the number.
Awesome.
I'm telling you, you should say, listen, how about weekly? No, I'm not kidding. Felipe, I think he'd do it. I think he'd do it. During the season, I actually think he'd do it.
I'll buy a Broncos jersey if he does it.
So did you enjoy that All-Star game, Felipe? Do you enjoy that non-basketball?
It was awful. I'm
Okay,
getting
just-
old. I hate it. It's awful.
No, it's not basketball. I watched most of the first. I had most of the first half on. It's terrible.
The first year that they did the target score format was 2020, right before the pandemic. That was an amazing All-Star game. Other than that, they've sucked. I didn't even watch the Rising Stars game, and that looked more entertaining of the few highlights I saw of it. Didn't even watch the dunk contest either. Keep it real with you. I'm going to call Todd now.
Yeah, it's because he's on the air next. Let's. One thing the people before you did, they had our guest on when the segment started.
Yes, they are Canada Relief. I love the trade, by the way. Whether they lose to the Lightning in 6 or not, I love the trade. Think about how hard the road to the finals is for like the Lightning and the Leafs. They're going to have to play each other. Then they're going to have to play Boston. And they're probably going to have to beat Carolina or the Rangers. That's just once they get to the finals, they'll be like, oh, please, this is a joke.
He didn't answer. I'm going to call him again. Don't worry.
No answer.
Okay.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Hour 3 of Miller and Moulton on this President's Day. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hoping to catch back in with Todd Bodine here momentarily. He was part of NASCAR's, Fox's coverage of the Daytona weekend for Fox. And Mike Westhoff, in 35 minutes' time, the guy who's retired, wrote a book, got a new hip, was all set and ready to go for that Florida retirement life. He's unretired. He's moving to Denver. He's assistant head coach of the Broncos. He's going to join us before he goes, coming up in 35 minutes' time. He's a 2-time NASCAR Truck Series champion, and he covers racing on Fox. He is Todd Bodine. You can follow him on Twitter. Great Twitter handle, team_onion. Team_onion. Todd, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. How are you?
Doing great, guys. How you been?
Well, we've been well. A simple question. You raced when we finished, if we had, when Earnhardt won the 500, he won it under caution. And we've also had it where, hey, if you had a wreck on the final lap, you raced to the finish line. And now we're doing it the way we're doing it. Todd, I had a big problem with the Daytona 500 finishing the way it finished yesterday. You finished it many different ways. Which one do you like best?
Man, you're going to put me on the spot. Well, everybody likes to see it under green flag. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you want to see them brace back around because then, the half a lap that we didn't have under green, a lot can happen. And, fortunately or unfortunately, or however you want to look at it, to have the rule set that we have now, it is what it is. And you have to race within the rules, and the rule states, if the caution comes out and the leader's taking a white flag, the race is over. We've had situations before this was the rule where there was just multiple attempts of green, white, checkered flag. And, there's a point where you have to stop wrecking race cars and costing people money, and you have to get the race over. Believe it or not, part of why this rule was written this way was for the TV coverage. They have a certain time slot, and they have to try to stay the best they can within that time slot. It doesn't always happen. Friday night in the truck race, we went way past our time slot. So, a lot of it is TV driven, network driven. And, it is what it is, whether we like it or not. And it's the rule. And Ricky Stenhouse won the race, and he won it within the rules. He's got the check and the trophy and the ring, and he's the Daytona 500 champion.
And he did make a hell of a move in the first overtime to get himself to the front. I think he deserves a lot of credit for pulling that off. Don't you, Todd?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was really smart. It's not restricted plate racing anymore, but drafting racetracks are about positioning. They are about thinking ahead and knowing your situation and having that situational awareness. He made an incredible move. He saw what was coming. He made the move, got the lead, and and what happens after that? Well, that's circumstance. But he did a great job to get the lead, and he deserved to win the race.
He's Todd Bodine. He won the Truck Series twice. He's part of Fox's racing coverage. You can follow him on Twitter at @team_onion, team_onion. And I'm actually a fairly big racing fan, and I'm probably going to come off sounding like a Yahoo when I say this. But, Todd, I am of the belief that there are 2 races out of the 36 that should always finish under green. The first and the last. Okay, and if you think about it, the NFL has different overtime rules for the playoffs than they do for the regular season. Major League Baseball has different extra inning rules for the playoffs than they do for the regular season. If this is NASCAR Super Bowl, which we all know it is, and if the final race determines the championship literally, because it does, am I out of line as a fan in saying, I don't care what you do with races 2 through 35, but race 1 and race 36 need to finish under green?
Well, I don't think that you are totally out of line. First of all, everyone has an opinion. Everybody wants what they want. But to say that that's not a fair statement is not correct. I think you have a very valid point. It is our Super Bowl. It is the one of the biggest races in our world, not just our country, but in our world. And, maybe they need to look at it that way. Give a call over there, man. Guys, hey,
you got a number for him?
You got to change this. Yeah, I can give you the number. Don't worry.
Just keep your name out of it, though. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. But I'll tell you, for the last race here, the one besides the champion, I really agree. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. I mean, if you take the white flag at Phoenix and, you halfway through the run, part of racing at Phoenix is getting the run through the corner and down the back straightaway to pass the guy. So, yeah, if that caution comes out before you get that opportunity, well, it definitely changed the outcome. So, they definitely, I think that's a great idea. Look at that.
Todd, what do the teams learn from Daytona, or is it just because it's the wide open track that there's not a lot of learning until maybe the next time you come to Daytona? For a first race, is this still learning for these guys getting ready for the season, or is Daytona just its own animal?
It's its own animal. There's really zero that you can take from Daytona going to Las Vegas or Auto Club Speedway in California or any of these tracks are going to here shortly. There's the racing aspects for the driver, not even close to the same. The cars, even though they're the same type of car, the crew chiefs set them up different springs and shocks, and do different things to make them handle different. So yeah, there's nothing that relates to any other track other than Talladega, and actually now at Atlanta with the reconfiguration they consider that a drafting track. So, the only thing that you get out of it for the driver is learning and getting the laps around the track and logging all that into your database and making sure you remember for the next time you're in that situation what to do. And that's really all you can get out of it.
You know, Todd, it's not that often that many racing fans maybe feel sorry for Kyle Busch, but, you know, he's an all-time great and he's never won Daytona. And with 3 laps to go, he's in the lead and he's got his teammate behind him and he's got his teammate and another Chevy car behind him. Okay. With 3 laps to go before Suarez spun, didn't you think Kyle Busch was going to win the 500?
Well, at that point, you still never know because it is Daytona.
Right.
And you know those guys behind him are not going to just sit there. And you're talking to one of those people that never felt sorry for Kyle Busch. and I'm going to tell you that I did feel sorry for him. Yeah, he had driven a great race. He'd missed a couple of wrecks barely. He got in a wall one time. He got forced in a wall one time and still was leading the race and put himself in a position to be the guy rolling into victory lane. And yeah, I felt really bad for him. I did. But that's Daytona racing. That's speedway drafting and the way the things go. Until that checker flag or until you get that start finish line, you never know what's going to happen.
You know, Todd, Mark had just asked you, do we learn anything from Daytona that you can take to any other race? And I think you just showed once and for all that you can't, because no one's going to feel sorry for Kyle Busch in any of the other 35 races, but we felt sorry for him yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, he's, you know, well, you love him or hate him, though. You know, you got to admit that he is absolutely one of the greatest drivers of all time. And I've gone on record to saying it, and I'll say it again. I think he's going to go down as the best all time in NASCAR by the time he's done. So, yeah, whether you love him or hate him, you definitely felt sorry for him in that circumstance.
Well, between all his wins on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, that is a case that you can make. Todd Bodine, 2-time truck champion, covers racing for Fox. Follow him on Twitter, team_onion, team_onion. Hey, Todd, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. Safe travels.
All right, buddy. No problem. Anytime you guys want me on, I'm here for you.
Todd Bodine, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
They do know we record this show when they say things like that, right?
Well, and not only that, apparently he's going to give us the number. We're going to get to call NASCAR. We just have to leave his name out of it. When they say, how'd you get our number? I just stumbled upon it, man. Somebody in the PR department gave it to us. Which one? I don't know. Got so many of them.
It's a long list.
Right. I don't know. One of the race teams gave it to us. Can't remember which one.
You know, he didn't really give us the answer, but it sounds like he's on your side to finish in green. I mean, without, you know, saying it, he kind of said it.
Well, it is interesting. He did say he's for it at Phoenix, the final race of the year. And for those that don't know, that when NASCAR does its playoffs, they have 4 drivers in the last race. Only one of those 4 drivers can win the championship. And so he did say for Phoenix, definitely we should finish under green. Doesn't sound like he's fully there yet for Daytona. I thought I made a good case.
I thought you did as well. Still honked off? Do you feel any better?
No. I don't like it when it's rain stoppage short. I don't like it. No, we finished Daytona to green. It's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl of racing. You play the full 60 minutes, and if you go overtime, you play till someone wins. Not until someone's in the lead. Oh, well, he's leading with half a lap left. Well, make him run the damn half lap.
I don't know about any of you. When he started there, I started doing green eggs and ham in my head. I don't like it on yellow. I don't like it on white. I like it on green just in the night. Miller and Moulton, Mike Westhoff to join us in 25 minutes time. He is the new assistant coach of the Denver Broncos. He's coming up on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$20. I almost bought an authentic, like game-worn quality Kevin Durant jersey, the same color, for only $100. That jersey's like $250. But I didn't buy it. I bought this instead. NBA store in downtown New York is amazing. NBA stores, New York.
Can't believe you had to pay $20 for anything associated with Kyrie Irving.
I love that city.
It's an amazing city.
It's incredible.
I'm a huge fan. I know there are people who don't like it. I absolutely love it.
It's alive. Always. And also we haven't even talked about the food. We might need some time for that one.
Well, you got to remember, the rest of us are older. We've been to New York. We're aware of this. This was a whole new thing for you.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Like,
now you understand when people from the Northeast talk about pizza, Italian, and Chinese, and why it is that pretty much no matter where they live, it doesn't measure up.
Bagels. Oh, some of the best meals I've had in my life.
Yep.
In my life.
Yep. So is the poll question up?
I did put it up.
What was it again? About what you watched this weekend?
How much did you watch? None, little, lots.
That's right. We're trying to see if people watch the XFL.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Pretty much.
It's football, and it's an easy way to watch football because it's on the 4-letter network. So it'll be on at any sport.
Although, what's interesting is they did not have the game last night. FX had it last night. They had, I think, college baseball and college softball on instead.
Oh, you're right. I was watching college softball.
Yeah. UCF beat Mississippi State late.
Baylor beat Oklahoma.
Florida State played, I forget who they played, but it was a ranked matchup.
FGCU baseball team started 4-0.
Basketball team lost again, huh?
As a matter of fact, they did. Yep. That's 4 home losses in a row.
I thought it was very classy of Michigan. Very classy.
And that Michigan player threw in that prayer with under 2 minutes to go to break the tie.
Yeah, they scored the last 12 of the game. I'm not too worried about the prayer.
Well, but it was tied, though, with under 2 minutes to go, and this good shot clock winding down, threw in just... No, Mello, we're going to get it now. Yeah, but Brian, the goaltending didn't get you last year. Are you talking about the Leafs? Goaltending wasn't the problem last year.
They're
Your stars didn't score, and no one else scored.
Canada, yeah, the movie had a Super Bowl commercial. Should be good. We'll see. Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour on this President's Day. Thanks for being with us. And if you've got the day off, great. Enjoy it.
Congratulations.
Celebrate it. Right. Keep it to your damn self, okay? Some of us have to work.
But not that hard, so we're not going to. That's just more of a joke.
Yeah, we're sticking up for those that are really working, not like us. I mean, this is, it's not work.
Yeah, this building's
Oh, yeah.
It's vacant.
This is probably the only show being produced out of that building today.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Parking lot's empty. That's how you know.
That's the voice of young Felipe, who's back in the fold after leaving for 3 days. And I mean, let's face it, we thought about replacing him. He probably thought about not coming back. Okay. I think, we're still at that point of our relationship here. We think it's taken hold, but both sides are still vulnerable. Felipe, how did it go with the future in-laws and brother-in-laws?
It went very, very well. Spectacularly well. So well that we went bar hopping the night of her birthday all together and had a blast.
With the parents?
Yeah, parents included. Parents, brothers. It was awesome.
By the way,
I've got nothing because these are things that I never did in my life.
No. Well, first
meeting
off,
the girlfriend's parents was bad enough, and you only wanted to do that once.
Right. I married a minister's daughter. Believe me, the minister and his wife, we did not go bar hopping together. I met my wife at a bar. Her parents were not there.
Well, so the way that it went, the dynamic of it was that her parents lived in New York for 40 years and left in 2005. This was their first time visiting New York since 2005. The city has changed a lot.
Why did they bring you? That's what I'm trying to figure out is how did you end up on this family vacation? Because Felipe, the more I think about it, they're expecting if they're bringing you on this historic family vacation, then they are eyeing bigger things for you than just bringing you along for this.
Well, before you continue hating, the idea of this trip was hers, the girl. She bought the plane tickets for her parents as a Christmas gift for this time. And as soon as they opened the Christmas presents, seeing that it was plane tickets to New York, the first thing they asked was, "Oh my gosh, is Felipe coming?" That's the first thing they asked her. Is Felipe coming?
Now, you did say, and we do question your accuracy from time to time on things, but you did say her parents, and I'm quoting now, love me, unquote, before you went on this trip, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do they still love you, or was there a hiccup? Did you screw up at any point in time?
No.
Here's my only worry for you, Felipe, and this can happen, that they may like you too much, that it may make her like you less.
Oh, yeah. There's already some of that because I was siding with her parents on some things.
That's a bad move.
Banter, I've lived here for 40 years. I know what the train is. No, the phone says this train. I'm just like, it all leads the same way. We're good. She looks at me. Shut up.
Exactly.
Stay out of this.
So I'm just saying, you can be in a spot where the parents like you too much and it drives the girl away. I've seen it happen.
So what about the brothers? By the way, older, younger?
Older, both older.
Okay. So I'm guessing this is the first boyfriend to ever go on a family outing.
Right.
Okay.
I think this is the first legit boyfriend that they've met because they've both lived in New York for a little bit now.
And they did not attempt to throw you in any rivers?
No. In fact, I bought 2 rounds of shots for them.
So there was no trying to push you in front of the moving subway. You stayed far enough away from the end of the platform.
Correct.
Okay.
Immediately took the first seat I could.
Well, Mark, it sounds as if, okay, at least with 4 of the 5 people, that this trip was an overwhelming success. Of course, unfortunately, the person who may offer a different view is the woman he's dating.
Right.
So
the worst part of the trip was watching Mikal Bridges drop 47 points on the Miami Heat Wednesday night because I went to a Brooklyn Nets game. And I drove the parents into going to the Brooklyn Nets game because they didn't know what they wanted to do Wednesday night. So I said, well, the Miami Heat are in town. And I was thinking about going with girl. Do you two want to come? And they said, you know what? That would be fun. I bought their tickets.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to, and they were cheap too. They were like $30.
Yeah, no kidding. Because KD and Kyrie aren't there, and that franchise could move to Seattle.
By the way, Brooklyn Nets fans don't exist.
We've told you that for quite a while now.
Quiet in that arena. There were more Heat fans than Nets fans.
Charlotte Hornets fans, Brooklyn Nets fans. Who has more of them? Exactly.
Jeez.
I'll go Sacramento.
Well, definitely Sacramento this year, but yes. So, okay. All right. Yeah, so we had to make sure. So now, be honest. It sounds like you're being very genuine with us right now. So hopefully this will continue for a few more moments. By the way, Mike Westhoff in 10 minutes, he's unretired. Right. After writing the book, all right, he's unretired. 10 minutes, Mike Westhoff. This is an exclusive, by the way. He has not done an interview since unretiring. So how seriously did you consider not coming back to the show?
I didn't want to come back to Florida at some point. I mean,
well,
between the fact that I was having the best food of my life and just experiencing the characters on a daily basis.
You hear that, Mark? The people of New York City are, quote, characters.
Oh, they're characters.
Unquote. How, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you didn't want to come back, and 1 was like, well, of course I was coming back. What do you give it? To be honest.
Now, at the peak of the trip, it was a
Once
10.
Again.
But towards the end, I'm like, okay, Florida Sports Network. Florida Sports Network.
So somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's kind of how it went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with us too. Wednesday, Raj was throwing a perfect game. I mean, you were done at 9:30 on Wednesday. You were done. We weren't bringing you back. you were done. Okay, I mean, the folks in the Twitch chat room were even saying, "Well, you got to move on from Felipe. This guy's throwing a perfect game." We had like 5 guests. He had them all lined up early. I had all the drop-ins when they were supposed to drop. Okay, stayed awake for the whole show. You were done. Then he slipped up, lost the perfect game. All right. We had a rough first hour with Cole. Okay. So it was kind of the same way with us, Felipe. Okay. Midway through Friday's show, we were kind of bringing you back. So it was the same thing. Just so you know, our weekend, our week and your week were the same.
Okay. But I'm very happy to be back.
Okay.
I'll clarify that.
That's good to hear.
I miss you guys.
That's good to hear.
Oh.
I don't know if the feeling's yet mutual.
Oh, okay.
Now, listen, so the parents love him and the brothers love him. Does she stay with him till Easter? Could be our poll question. I know you want to ask people what it is they watch this weekend. Tiger, Daytona, XFL, blah, 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 whatever.
Maybe tomorrow's question.
Does she
I think
stay?
you're to Easter.
Does he make it to Easter?
Hey, who cares? We got Mike Westhoff coming up.
Uh-huh.
By the way, she does listen to this show. Okay. I would never say who cares if she keeps me around again.
Yeah. Did just take you to New York City for the week.
Right.
Miller and Moulton, Mike Westhoff will join us next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
One thing that blew my mind. Do you know what the toll is to cross the Brooklyn Bridge in your car?
The Brooklyn Bridge, no. The GWB is like $18.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 16, 18 bucks, 20 bucks.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I didn't know that parking in the city on Sunday is free. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's chaos on Sunday, but that's pretty cool. Since it's virtually impossible to park any other day.
It's like their Chick-fil-A thing,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. DC, Joe's Pizza down the street from Times Square. Oh.
So did you sit upstairs when you went to the Nets Heat game?
Yeah, I did. We moved seats though.
I'll bet, because this just in, without KD and Kyrie, I'm guessing there were only about 7,000 empty seats.
It was pretty full because, the Heat were in town. But, we found a whole row at a better section. Got that row, boom. But, hey, I witnessed a career night for Mikal Bridges. He scored 47 points and lit us up. Jimmy Butler did not care because he was hopping on a plane to the Bahamas in 3 hours. Saw a show on Broadway, too. It was awesome. Moulin Rouge.
Wow. I hated the movie.
Never saw it. But the
Nicole
music
Kid-
was amazing.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Of course, it was Daytona weekend, so it was impossible to flip through the channels and not see Days of Thunder on somewhere. I got a pit, Harry. I'm eating ice cream.
I'm going to call Mike now, but DC, it's because all you have to do is my bad. All Miami has to do is make the playoffs. That's all that needs to happen.
I totally disagree. Totally disagree. Boston, Milwaukee, Philly are the top 3 seeds. You really want to face one of them in the first round? I mean, don't you want to face Cleveland in a 4 or 5?
Kevin Love. I'm going to call Mike now.
I mean, at least be the 6 and face Philly. I don't know about you, Mark, but I would not want to play Boston or Milwaukee out of the chute. That seems like an early invitation to go home.
Look at that.
It's unbelievable.
Mike Westhoff is on hold. I'm like, Mike, thanks for doing this. He goes, oh, you guys are the best. No problem. I'm like, thanks, man.
Putting the band back together.
And there was a punt return in the Super Bowl.
God, hopefully the Broncos can score points this year.
Well, they better, or Russ ain't cooking anything.
30 seconds. Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bonus hour for those in the 239, beginning at the top of the hour. Mark, there is a rumor out there, and so we invited our guest on to confirm or deny the rumor. There is a rumor that Mike Westhoff has unretired and is going to be the assistant head coach of the Denver Broncos. So to confirm or deny that rumor, we called Mike Westhoff. Mike, it's David and Mark. Is that true?
Hey, guys. Hi. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Sometimes you get older, you do things that are either way brighter or way maybe not so bright. So we'll see what this one is.
Well, Mike, I mean, you retired, you wrote the book. I thought it was time to shark fish and ease into this. What happened?
I've been doing that, and I'm very happy doing that, to tell you the truth. And I'm working with the book. I've done some, I kind of branched into a kind of where I've done some motivational speaking at places, and we sell books, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really fun for me. I just did one a couple of weeks ago in Orlando. I enjoy that. I wasn't looking to go back into coach. I wasn't. I retired, one time, and then I went out to go to New Orleans and did it again and wrote the book. I like Sean Payton. I respect him. He contacted me, 6 weeks ago, and said that he was really looking to go back in, and he was going to explore what options were available, and would I go with him? And I said, well, let's see what you have. And then he decided on Denver, and made it very clear to me that it had nothing to do any negative with anything else, but he just was enamored with the owner. I mean, of course, I'm sure money was a part of it, obviously, like anything, but he just really was impressed with the guy, and that his vision and how Sean would fit into it. And he decided, let's do it. So he called me and wanted me to come out there and talk with him. And I did. I went out last week and met with him. And it's kind of interesting, the role, the title that I have is assistant head coach, but I'll pretty much do what I've always done. There's a guy that's going to come with me that was my assistant for a long time, Ben Kotwika. He's also been a coordinator, and he and I will work together on the special teams and things like that. So my role will be very much involved with that, obviously, but I like Sean. I think he's an excellent coach. He's the best. And I wrote this in my book. He's the best on-the-field teacher I ever watched in my 32-year career. He's the best. So when I went out, he showed me all around and what they're going to try to do. And it's not easy. But the one thing that I learned in all my years is that the journey up or down in the National Football League is not that far either way, because you can do it either way. So we're going to try to take it up.
Well, Mike, those are strong words. And we're talking with Mike Westhoff, the new assistant head coach of the Denver Broncos. I mean, you have worked with two Hall of Fame coaches, Don Shula and Jimmy Johnson. And so for you to say that Sean Payton at anything is the best that you've ever worked with are strong words. So what is it, Mike, about Sean Payton that you're like, I got a good life here, but I'm going to give it back up to go work with you?
Don't get me wrong. When I said that, you got to hear the whole part of it was on the field teacher.
Right. No. I know that.
He's the best at, because the best coach that I've ever been around is Don Shula. Come on, he's the best that ever did it. But what Sean's really good at, he really envisions and sees all of it. I mean, he's really technical. He looks at everything, and he has a way of teaching that offense. When I used to watch it, I'd stand on the field and I'd watch him with Drew Brees and, Michael Thomas. I mean, some pretty good football players, don't get me wrong, Alvin Kamara. But the way he goes through it and explains it. And I used to watch in a walkthrough where he'd be telling a receiver to bend in. He said, when you get right to here, now you're in the middle of the vision between the safety and the quarterback. And he said, right here is when you pull back hard. And he said, Drew, there's the hole. And this is the kind of thing that it's just, I always felt I was a pretty damn good teacher on the field myself. I really believed that I was. I worked hard at it. And I think the results showed. But with Sean, I just love the way he taught it. So if there's anyone that can get it going, it'll be Sean Payton. And then I just like the way he handled meetings and the schedule and things like that. So when he asked me to join them, it wasn't that difficult. To be honest with you, I wouldn't answer a phone for anybody else. I wouldn't do it. The game's changed. My role has changed a lot, but with him, it's not that different. It's not quite as much. And so I said, yeah, I'll take a chance. I'll do it. I signed for 1 year. I did a one year contract. But I'm happy. I'll go out there Wednesday. I'm happy to get started. It's just I liked everybody I met. I thought the organization I was impressed, and I'm not easily impressed, to tell you the truth, but I liked it. So I'm going to give it a shot.
All right, this may be a ridiculously stupid question, but I'm going to ask anyhow. We've talked, Mike, you and I have talked, we've talked on the air, we've talked off the air about the role of special teams in today's game. You're in Denver, where kicks go 5 million miles. Does that change anything being a special team? I know you're assistant head coach, but like you said, you're still going to be overseeing the special teams. Does it change doing it in altitude?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I used to hate to go to Denver because what it did, a lot of times the altitude takes away a lot. I mean, I remember going out there with the Jets, and I had the best kickoff return team in the NFL. And I thought, well, this is a weapon that we're pretty good at, and we're not going to get to use. It's not going to happen. So, that does affect me. When I talk with Sean, and don't get me wrong, when I say with special teams, I'll be very, we named Ben Cartwica, it was named as a coordinator. He and I will kind of partner up with it. Yeah, I'll be very much involved because that's what I've always done. But we've worked together. We know how to do it. So it's not like I'm just going to take over the whole damn thing, even though I certainly can. But we'll work together. But with the altitude, like I talked to Sean, he said, what do you think? I said, well, we play on Mount Everest here, please. I can take the touchback. And at my age, I can run down the field. So what we have to do is get some other things going. And I said, find me a punt, get me a punt returner. Get me a punt returner, and I'll figure some things out. So there are things you can do. Do you want to, I believe in this year's Super Bowl, I felt pretty good. I wish I was back in the media because I nailed it on the radio. I said that Philadelphia is the best team and Kansas City will win the game, and Kansas City will make a big special teams play. Someday when it's just you and I'll tell you why I know that. I'll tell you why, because it's pretty interesting. But anyway, you got to find a way to make some things happen. And it's not easy. I really felt that Kansas City kept taking touchbacks and giving Philadelphia the ball at the 25-yard line. And Philadelphia is running now, which I think they'll make a change, to tell you the truth, 4-down offense. So they get 3rd and 8. They just look to pick up a couple because they're going for it on 4th down. And you can't stop that quarterback sneak thing that they're doing. So I thought Kansas City should have kicked them in the corner a little bit and tried to pin them because they're not a very good return team. Matter of fact, they're pretty much terrible. Pin them inside the 20, put them on the 15, take away a 1st down. I think that was a mistake that they were making. So do I need to do that? I don't know. I'm going to find out. But I know what I have to have. They've got a good kicker. I'm going to try to get a punt return guy. That's the key thing that I have. And then try to get a couple other key guys and see what you can do. As you just mentioned, and you're 100% right, the role has been diluted. It's diluted. And it still is there. But okay, you have some plays. Let's make them work. Let's find a way to make them work.
He's Mike Westhoff. He's the new assistant head coach in Denver with the Broncos. So he's going to have to face Tony and the Chiefs at least twice a year. And Mike's kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Listen, I made a joke when we found out that you were given the assistant head coach title that is just broad enough, just vague enough that you could dip your toes in anything. I mean, Mike, you drove the beer truck back in the day at Dayton, for goodness sakes. I mean, what all is involved being the assistant head coach?
That's a good question. I know this. I've been able to sometimes just sit with Sean and just talk just general football things, just what's going on, personnel, lots of things. And so that's kind of what I would like. I'd be able to help him with, whatever. And one thing he did when I went there, he complimented me on was how I practice. Because I remember one time after we started off terribly. I wrote about this in a book. My first 2 years at 2 weeks at New Orleans, we were terrible. I mean, it was like, what the heck am I doing? Why did I get back in this? Because I can't coach anything. Now, all of a sudden, I figured it out. And now we went from being terrible to being really good. And Sean said to me one time, Mike, you got the same guys. They don't even look like the same team. I said, it's because how we practice. We're practicing totally different. And it kind of helped him a little bit. He stepped it up, not stepped it up, but juiced it up. And it works. I don't know anything different. I said, you give me a 10-minute period, I'm going to run 12 plays. And after that, I promise you'll have to take a water break. You'll have to. But I'm going to work the hell out of them. It's the only thing I know. I don't know anything else. My walkthrough, I don't care. I'm going to walk through for me. What are they going to do? I'd send me home? I just came from home. So I don't care. So this is the kind of thing I think I can help them with. And I just like talking to them. I like sitting down and listening to things and how he's trying to do things and talk about it. So that's what I hope to be able to contribute a little bit.
Mike, is that the difference in coaching right now? You talked about it sounds like the pace of practice, of keeping everything fast paced. You don't get as much time. You can't keep them longer. There's not 2-a-days and 3-a-days like there once was. So is it the pace of practice that's everything to you?
Yes, and the smartness of it. So you have to take sometimes, like I used to take. I run a drill, a kickoff coverage drill type thing. I did. Rex Ryan, when I did it with him, he said the best drill he ever saw in football. But we're mimicking a kick. It used to be, remember, every kick was returned and you had to cover every kick. Okay, so I'm practicing kickoff coverage. But the way I do it, I'm only running 20 yards. And I'm not running all the way down the field. You can't do that. You have to be able to shrink things and yet still keep it at a pace that you're not killing each other. To these guys, as big and strong and tough as they are, you can't beat everybody up every day. You can't do that. So you have to know how to do it and get the most out of it at a tempo that most accurately mimics what you're going to do on Sunday. That's the key of practice. Now, they have a thing out there that I was really impressed with, kind of a video type thing where it's sort of virtual in a way. You can get in front of it and you're looking at a picture. It's really pretty cool. I can't wait to do that. I told Sean Payton, I said, you better look out during mini camp that I might be in there on Friday night and I'll just keep them in there and I'll provide snacks or something. So I was teasing them. But, I'm looking forward to trying to do whatever I can and contribute.
Mike, when you were in the AFC East all those years, first you were trying to slay the Bills, then you were trying to slay the Patriots. Now here you are in the AFC West, and obviously you got to slay the Chiefs, and they've hosted 5 straight championship games. Did that give you any pause, or did that actually make the job more attractive?
Yeah, it makes it's a challenge because they're good. Andy Reid's an excellent coach. They've told their special teams coaches, the role is been diluted, but he's very good. He does a good job. They're the team to beat. But yet the whole division. I mean, you look at the Chargers with the great quarterback, and the Raiders have enough weapons. It's really an interesting challenge. So I look forward to that. That's something, and I don't know. I've never done that. I've never been in that division, so it's a little bit different. But yet, Kansas City's at the top of the heap. So it's a pretty good goal, guys, to go after. So, but yet, I know Sean, he takes things one step at a time. I know one thing, as a coach, I've been with him. He's not afraid of anybody. Tell you what, he's not afraid of anybody. He believes every week he can win. Of course, it was not that terrible to do. You got Drew Brees. That helps you a little bit. But Sean's he's a fighter. He came up through the way with Bill Parcells in his Dallas days as a coordinator. And he knows how to win football games. So he'll make it an interesting challenge. I certainly promise that.
Well, Mike, we know you're headed to Denver full-time in a couple days. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk throughout the season. All right. But safe travels, and we wish you all the best.
Well, thanks, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you saying it's an interesting opportunity, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try. And I did not think I'd be on the phone talking about this. I really didn't, but yet here I go again. So we'll see how smart I am. But it's fun. I'm looking forward to the challenge. And thanks for bringing it up and talking with me.
Thanks, Coach.
Mike Westhoff, officially the assistant head coach with Sean Payton in Denver with the Broncos, and Rex Ryan is a finalist for the defensive coordinator job. They are putting the band back together.
Man, oh man. Hard Knocks can't go because it's a first-year coach, but boy, oh boy, you're right. You said it early in the show. Pull out all the stops to get that one on again.
Change the rules. Please, you're the NFL. You do it all the time.
Miller and Moulton. Hope you enjoyed that with our friend Mike Westhoff. Always been great to us here on the show. More to come on the other side here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Canada Relief. I don't know that John Elway is going to have much say in anything anymore with the Denver Broncos. Well, in Canada Relief, you can't say he doesn't want a quarterback in Denver better than he was. He already brought one in. His name was Peyton Manning. I mean, that's not out of line saying Peyton was better than Elway, is it? Apparently, our fearless leader's been on a cruise for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
With and was ordered apparently not to bring his phone. That someone else was the boss of the cruise. So apparently, mid to late this week, apparently there will be a return to civilization and maybe some contact.
That'd be nice.
That
The air,
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask, is the air on?
Yeah. It's not terrible today.
What do you got, Felipe?
That the video that's trending on Twitter and whatnot of DK Metcalf jumping really high to catch that ball, that's totally fake. It's fake. You can just tell. We're coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this President's Day. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Even if you're not working today, enjoy the day off. Miller and Moulton. We got one more hour of work ahead of us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you missed our last hour, Todd Bodine talking about whether or not we should finish Daytona and the season championship race in Phoenix the way they currently finish it, or should those races be green flag specials? And we just had Mike Westhoff on, who's unretired for the second time. And both times he did it because of Sean Payton. He's the new assistant head coach of the Broncos. Westhoff's always good radio. So if you missed it last hour, download that hour when it's posted here sometime in the next hour on floridasportsnetwork.com.
What did he call Sean Payton? The best
teacher.
On-field teacher.
On-field teacher. This is a guy who worked with Don Shula and Jimmy Johnson, both regarded for their teaching abilities, particularly Shula. And now he said that's just one aspect. Shula's the best coach. He said not even close. But in terms of in the middle of practice, teaching you something, he goes, I've never seen anybody better than Sean Payton. Okay.
And that's amazing to me too, because there are only so many drills. There are only so many ways to run a practice. You've been around practices. They can all start to look the same after a while.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, most of them are very similar to how they run. These coaches are creatures of habit. They don't do things very differently than the others. So for the coaches that get in more in practice, why? How? And obviously, Mike thinks it's Sean's teaching ability that separates.
So he's got quite the ball of clay to work with here. The Denver Broncos offense with Russell Wilson. We shall see. They won 5 games last year. If they had scored 17 points a game, I think they would have won double that. I mean, that's how bad they were offensively, but also how solid they were defensively. It's what some people are bringing up with Derek Carr, Mark, is that since Carr entered the league, apparently the Raiders had the worst defense/special teams of all the teams in the league. That there's some metric in which they advanced whatever, and that the Raiders defense/special teams since Carr was drafted came out 32nd in the league. And so that's why there are some who, if you're buying that metric, is like, well, imagine if he goes to a place like the Jets, who everybody agrees has a top 10 defense on a bad day. Maybe a lot better than that. And even if they have average special teams. And then it's kind of like, so now imagine Derek Carr with competent the rest of the team. Now, what would you think of Derek Carr? That's, obviously what his agent's selling, but that's also what some people are selling. That this could be Matthew Stafford going to the Rams. Quick question mark. How many playoff games had Matthew Stafford won before he took the Rams to the Super Bowl?
Well, that would be 0.
How many playoff games has Derek Carr won?
0.
Did they just need, quite frankly, to go to a good team? And so that's, I don't know. I mean, we all know the teams who need a quarterback. Is that what you're thinking when you look at Derek Carr? That he's, this could be Matthew Stafford all over again? Or do you go, no, he's not that good?
I don't think of him as that good. I don't. But I will say I'm fascinated by whoever goes to the Jets with what their defense is, with the way we think Saleh can coach, particularly on that side of the ball.
They were 7-4 before it all fell apart, in large part because they didn't have a quarterback. Tell you what, Joe Douglas is lucky he's getting to make this call, because I know he's gotten a lot right, but he picked Mekhi Becton 4th overall, and he picked Wilson 2nd overall. I mean, right now, he's 0 for 2 on 2 top 5 picks. Imagine where they'd be if he had just drafted good players with those picks. I mean, I think they took Becton 4th when the Bucs took Wirfs at 14. I think Becton was the first of the 4 tackles in that draft. Imagine what the Jets would have been like these last few years with Tristan Wirfs. Now, Wirfs wouldn't have a Super Bowl ring, but you know how much money Tristan Wirfs would be making with the hype he would have gotten in New York?
It is astonishing that you can miss, because you're not supposed to miss at all on those picks.
No.
Not bus. These are flat out bus.
Right.
Not even serviceable.
Right. Wilson doesn't look like he can play. And Becton, gave 1 year, and now he's kind of physically falling apart, but everybody's also questioning his heart, quite frankly. 2 top 5 picks. Think of where they'd be. If you're the Dolphins, by the way, all Dolphin fans listening, thank goodness. Thank goodness they screwed that up.
That division could be really good this year.
It was right on the edge of being it last year.
I know.
I mean, if the Jets quarterback situation wasn't a mess, and if the Dolphins quarterback didn't get hurt, how much of a handful that division would be. And I would just like, for New England to give Mac Jones something to work with. I mean, at least they got him a competent coordinator in Bill O'Brien. That's a good start. But could you get him some weapons, please? I mean, their weaponry is kind of similar to the Bears. I mean, come on now, give them a chance.
They're fighting in World War I, and everybody else is in modern times. I mean, from a weaponry standpoint, David, they're if they could get rid of the muskets, it might help.
Listen, I understand the emotional attachment to it. It served you really well for a long time. But you're right. We may want to modernize this weaponry. Just a thought. Get back to you on it. And the funny thing about Carr is, Carr doesn't have to wait to the beginning of the new year. He's been released. He's out there. I mean, he can sign now. He's not a salary cap casualty along closer to March 15th. He's a casualty now. It did come out over the weekend, by the way. Bob McGill, who covered the Packers, still does kind of, sort of, but he was really the source on the Green Bay Packers for 40 years. And now he's, kind of retired and kind of doing his own thing, but he's still got all those sources. He came out, did a podcast with somebody late Friday or early Saturday, and he just said the Packers are sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers. They are so done with him. And that basically it doesn't matter what Rodgers decides. They're done. And they are moving on to Jordan Love.
Financially, how?
I
get it. I get it. They're really sick of him. He's annoying. But financially, I'm trying to figure out how the hell they can pull this off.
I mean, his dead cap hits $99 million.
That seems to me to be a big deal, David. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as good at math as I thought.
No, Mark, that's a big number. It really is. All right. I love the stories. He's open to reworking his deal. Really? You think? I mean, the dead cap hits $99 million, and I think the cap hit this year is like $59 because of the way the restructuring was, done. Yeah, dead cap at 99.8. Mm-hmm. He's going to make $59.5 million in cash this year. And see, if he stays in Green Bay, his cap hit's only 31.6. But once you trade a guy, all the future bonus money gets thrown on the cap immediately. So right now, to move Aaron Rodgers, the way we understand the cap, that's $100 million. You can't do that. So, Mark, we figure that he's going to have to, now that he's awoken from his, 4-day slumber there, and we don't know if he's seen a shadow or not, that he's going to have to do what Aaron Jones just did. He's going to have to sit down with Green Bay and rework his contract and do it in a way in which a team out there will actually pick it up. And if any of us understand how in the world they're going to do that, you're lying. Because none of us understand it, including people in the NFL.
So that's my, he may wake up and see a shadow, but does that mean he's have one more year as a Green Bay Packer? I mean, I don't know how this is going to work out because I don't know how the two get divorced.
Well, it only takes one side. It takes two sides to make a relationship, but it takes one side to break it.
I got you, but the Packers don't have the side to be trying to make this divorce happen to me. Unless they're just sacrificing everything next year.
So we'll see. That was out there over the weekend. The Packers are done with them. They're fed up with them.
I don't buy it for a minute.
And they're moving on.
Don't buy it.
I do. Bob McGill's been really good about the Packers over the years. I'm going with Bob McGill.
I'm not even saying they may be sick of him. I just don't think they can afford to do it.
Well, think about it, though. If he comes to them and says, okay, I want out, then in theory, the Packers say, well, we're going to have to get very creative here. And there's not going to be much of a negotiation here. I mean, we're going to have to get staggeringly creative to be able to trade you where it doesn't bankrupt us. And he'll be like, well, as long as I make my $59.5 million in cash, I don't care who I get it from. It's like Aaron Jones. He was supposed to make $16 million in salary. He negotiated down to 11, but he gets 8.5 of the 11 up front. Well, it's better than getting cut and getting nothing.
But they can't just cut Aaron from a salary cap standpoint. That's what makes this so crazy. Miller and Moulton trying to figure it all out right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Fine. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, Mike White is a free agent. So is Cooper Rush. So is Minshew. Canada relief. I don't think they draft a quarterback. I don't think they want to waste that much time.
Ten seconds. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, among those scheduled to be on our show tomorrow. Hey, I don't know how much you paid attention to Brett Comer returning over the weekend to Alico Arena as the assistant for Stetson. We talked about it on Friday. You know, if we were FGCU, what would we do? Would we take a moment and honor him, you know, or do you just
play ball?
And so they, you know, did the announcement, you know, and you know, returning to, at least this is what I'm told, you know, that, you know, they didn't bring him out the center court or anything, and
right.
But they just said, you know, and Stetson coaching staff, head coach Donnie Jones, and making his return to Alico Arena, you know, and apparently he got a nice hand. Okay. Michael Fly, the former coach, took to Twitter and, you know, said some very nice things about Brett, you know, so proud of the man he's become and husband and father, never mind coach, you know, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, look forward to returning to FGCU when they retire his jersey, is what Michael Fly tweeted out. And I thought to myself, you know, I mean, you're with the Blades. They've got what, a handful of retired?
I think there's if there's more since I've left. I know there was 3. There was Tom Buckley, Reggie Berg, Ernie Hartley. I do not know if they've retired anybody since then.
Okay. And I believe, and if I'm wrong, you know, please correct me. I think Chris Sale is the only jersey that's been retired in any of the sports that FGCU plays. There's not a basketball jersey hanging. I don't believe, like, you know, Sarah Hansen scored 1,900 points for FGCU. I'm pretty sure her number's still in circulation. You know, they've had 2 players on the women's side drafted in the WNBA. You know, there's neither. And Whitney Knight played 5 years there. Her number's not up in the rafters. I think, you know, I'm trying to think, is there a softball number that's out there? And they've had a couple of, you know, professional softball players. But when I saw that comment from Michael Fly, I went, oh, okay. And then I thought, do you think that'll ever happen? Like, if you're running the show over there at FGCU and you're not a retired numbers guy.
No, but I am when they're deserved. And I'm not trying to slight Brett Comer. Is he the best men's basketball player to ever play for FGCU?
Well, we could have that debate because, first off, he played 4 full years. So if you look like all-time stats, like he just got passed over the weekend in terms of minutes played. Up until this past weekend when Caleb Cato, who's played 5 years, he passed him. But up until then, no one had ever played more minutes in an FGCU jersey than Brett Comer. Obviously, we all know his role in the Sweet 16 run, the flashy point guard and all that. And then he played 2 more years after that. Is he the best player? No. I mean, Sherwood Brown on that team was the ASUN Player of the Year.
Right.
You know, it was a debate as to who was the better guard, Comer or Bernard Thompson. They played 4 years next to one another. But here's another thing. Like, needless to say, Mark, if that was the Yankees, I mean, you know, everybody on that team would have had their numbers retired. Right. But, you know, because you could put the banner up, obviously. Like, and the team just got inducted into the FGCU Hall of Fame.
And
last
well
year.
deserved.
Right. I mean, you can't have, I mean, if you have a Hall of Fame, you don't have the Sweet 16 team in it. You just need to not have a Hall of Fame. But I just thought it was an interesting thing that former Coach Fly put out there on Twitter. And it was, I know, Fly, you do as well. He's not an agenda guy. Okay. He just thinks that there will come a time when Comer's 0 will be retired. Like, I mean, Dakota Rivers,
whether or not someone should even wear 0.
Well, and Dakota Rivers has worn the number his whole career. And he's wearing it now. You know, like, I don't know how Dolphins fans feel when they see a wide receiver wearing Duper and Clayton's numbers. And do they think, how did we not take those numbers out of circulation? And the Dolphins are like, nah, you're in a Ring of Fame, but you ain't a retired jersey guy. That's Marino. That's greasy. You know, let's take it easy now on the whole retired jersey thing. I mean, think about the Cowboys. They have 2 88s that are in the Hall of Fame at wide receiver. That number's still in circulation.
That would be interesting. I'd never given it any thought.
I had neither.
An immensely popular player for that. I mean, he would be, I think, with Goodwin and Sherwood Brown and a lot of these players, if you went around and just asked to name somebody from Dunk City, you know, not even in the FGCU community, you went around Southwest Florida, I think Comer's name would be the first one said by a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, Chase Feeler was, you know, he was there a year before Brett, and, you know, on campus, Chase was kind of like the mayor. I know Eddie Murray got that nickname because he's from Fort Myers and what have you. But, you know, Chase Feeler was like Mr. FGCU. Fell in love with a volleyball player. They got married. They've had 2 kids. I mean, he absolutely loved everything about that university. I've never seen a FGCU player who cared more about wearing the jersey than Chase Feeler. And I spent 20 years around athletics there in all sports. Doesn't mean he's the best player in all sports, but I'm just saying I've never seen anybody that bled the green and blue like him.
Do you think Comer's number should be retired?
Well, because here's how I answer that. Because if you do one, how many are we going to do here?
Well, there you go.
And, you know, putting the team up in the rafters, are you going to take all the numbers out of circulation?
Can't.
Comer, Thompson, Sherwood Brown. Well, they had the big 4. I mean, obviously they had others that contributed, but the big 4 was Comer, Thompson, Sherwood Brown, and Chase Feeler. They had 2 guys who split minutes at center. You know, they had 3-4 key guys who came off the bench on those teams, but were clearly role players. They had the big 4. Sherwood was the one that graduated after the Sweet 16 run. Chase graduated the following year. Comer and Thompson played 4 years together. And so to me, you could convince me to retire his 0. But to me, it's like, well, if we're retiring 1, we're retiring 4.
And not 2. I mean, you wouldn't just do the 2 guards.
Sherwood Brown was the ASUN Player of the Year in 2013. He outplayed the 3rd overall pick in the draft head-to-head in an NCAA tournament game. No. To me, if we're doing 1, we're doing 4. And
then I would be in the room. I would be in the room going, we're doing none.
Okay. Fair enough.
They're in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
They are honored daily. I mean, they still use Dunk City on everything that they put out about that basketball team. They will be honored forever with that.
10 years next month, by the way.
Wow. We're old.
That's how we're going to end this conversation, huh?
Well, that's the conclusion I drew from it. Talking about retiring those numbers. Holy Toledo.
Listen, I didn't say you were wrong. Okay, I didn't dispute it at all. I just didn't
Slapped me
realize.
right in the face right there, David.
So we're undecided on the retired numbers, but we're confirmed that we're old.
100%. The problem is you can talk me into retiring the numbers. We can't do a damn thing about the old, David. Not a damn thing. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when. What's on tap? All still ahead on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. They've got John Rahm's scores up for this year so far, David. He's not broken 70 4 times out of 24 rounds. That's pretty good.
So he shot 24 consecutive rounds in the 60s?
No. He's had some in the 70s. He's had 20 rounds in the 60s, 4 rounds in the 70s so far this year.
Gotcha.
That's pretty good, I think.
Dead struck, by the way. The reason why I think, well, first off, it was just a comment literally that somebody made on a blog. But the reason why that would seem unlikely is Brady is an all-consuming kind of person. And so unless we hear reports of him in July and August actively working out, I wouldn't.
I really don't have a good. Can't someone just win a lotto somewhere for crying out loud?
You had that lady in Bonita last week, right?
I know. I will say, apparently they're meeting about college football right now about getting rid of the stopping the clock after first downs.
TV networks would love it. And they are doing away with the Bush push, apparently, in the NFL.
The non-controversial proposals include prohibiting consecutive timeouts, no longer extending the first or third quarter for an untimed down if the quarter ends on a defensive penalty. Clock will continue to run after a first down.
30 seconds.
And the other one, the clock will continue to run after an incomplete pass once the ball is spotted. That'll never happen.
Are you bringing this up or?
No, we can do it tomorrow. I just saw it. The story just kind of popped.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 17 until we're out of here. The President's Day edition of Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. If you have the day off, enjoy it. I mean, when's the next one of these? Around Easter, right?
Who knows? We don't get them anymore, so I don't really pay much attention.
Well, I mean, the hope is, we renew the contract. We're working on some big things here. If stuff actually comes to fruition, we're going to get holidays off. I know. But March Madness is no official holiday. St. Patrick's Day is not an official holiday. I mean, for those that have today off, don't you have to go to Easter?
Yes, you do.
With Good Friday and then
St. Patrick's Day is on a Friday too.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Second day of the tournament.
I know. Get absolutely hooked on phonics on the day before it, staggering into St. Patrick's Day.
That could be a hell of a weekend right there.
It sure could.
For those of you doing that weekend in Vegas, good luck.
So that's all. That's all. Just thought it was worth mentioning. So enjoy the day if you have it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
WORAM began today in 1922 in New York City, David.
7:10 a.m.?
Yep. Today in 1929, the Red Sox announced they'll play Sunday games at Braves Field because Fenway Park is located too close to a church.
Huh.
Yeah. Today in 1953, August Bush buys the St. Louis Cardinals for $3.75 million and pledges not to move the team from St. Louis.
Wow. I didn't realize the Cardinals were in jeopardy of moving. I just thought it was a football thing.
Today in 1962, John Glenn becomes the first American to orbit the Earth aboard Friendship 7. 63, Willie Mays becomes the highest paid player in baseball, signing a record $100,000 contract with the San Francisco Giants. Phil Esposito becomes the quickest to score 50 in a season today in 71. Today in 72, A.J. Foyt dominates the Daytona 500, winning by almost 2 laps.
Mario Andretti and A.J. Foyt, the two guys known for IndyCar who both won Daytona.
Today in 74, Gordie Howe comes out of retirement for the cool price of $1 million from the Houston Aeros. 77, Cale Yarborough wins his second 500. Janet Guthrie becomes the first female in a NASCAR Cup Series event. She would finish 12th.
I believe 2 years earlier in the 75 Indy 500 was when she raced in that. Hey, just going back quickly, aren't you surprised that Houston doesn't have an NHL team? If you think about it, they had a WHA team in the 70s. And think about what the city of Houston has become in the last 40 plus years. I mean, it's a top 6 market in this country size-wise, and some people think it's on the verge of like being number 3. It's certainly a top 10 market. And the NHL has forced a franchise in South Florida, Arizona, not Houston.
And they've been close a few times, but have never gotten one. You're right, David. 83, Yarborough wins his third Daytona 500. It was the first time an in-car camera goes into victory lane before a national sports audience.
Ooh. What year was that, 83?
83.
So 40 years ago is the first time we put a camera inside a car. Those shots are amazing.
30 years ago, the Florida Marlins opened their first spring training camp. Dale Jarrett wins his third 500 today in 2000. Jeff Gordon wins in 05. Trevor Bayne, the youngest ever winner, in 2011. Those born today that are no longer with us: Ansel Adams, Sidney Poitier, Bobby Unser, Walter Becker from Steely Dan, and Kurt Cobain. Mitch McConnell and Phil Esposito are both 81 today. Charles Barkley is 60. Cindy Crawford is 57. Justin Verlander is 40. Trevor Noah is 39. And Rihanna's 35. And that is Today Was a Day When, David.
Wow, that's a hell of a list there. Barkley, 3 days younger than Jordan. Phil looks pretty good for 81.
He does.
Certainly looks better than Mitch.
Begging the question.
Well, yeah, if you can't look better than Mitch McConnell.
Who can you look better than?
Hey. Oh, no, we're not there yet. Whatever. I'll wait.
Okay. You'll wait?
I'll wait.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
According to archaeologists, they've been dining out in bars for a long, long time. Apparently, in Samaria, they already had bars 1,000 years before the Great Pyramids were built. In ancient Mesopotamia, they found an area by archaeologists found an area that included open-air seating, a kitchen complete with a clay oven, a clay chiller, and ancient cookery. So good to know that they were out, hitting the bars in Iraq 5,000 years ago.
They have peanuts? Any evidence of mixed nuts? Chex Mix? Anything?
Peanuts, huh?
I mean, if you have bars, okay.
Probably
There's-
more dried figs.
I was going to say, what were they snacking on? Talk about back in the day.
For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where Frank Hood has lived there for 23 years, and he's come across his first neighbor rivalry. Apparently, the house across the canal never turned their lights on. It's always been dark. Now the neighbors have bright lights and go right flashing onto his patio. He spoke to the neighbors. They're not turning their lights off. Now he's looking to code enforcement to try to keep his porch dark at night. Good luck.
Frank, did you say is the guy's name? Is it Frank?
Yes, Frank Hood.
Okay. Frank, here's how you combat that. You get a big sound system, okay? And at the edge of your lawn, okay, once it turns dark, you blast the Scorpions' Big City Nights. All right.
Go with the Scorpions, huh?
Yep. I figure that'll drive them out.
That could put a for sale sign in front of the house pretty quickly.
Lights, nights, the whole deal. You keep. They're not going to turn their lights down. Fine, you're going to blast the music.
For the bad, we go to Fort Myers, where David Paulson just wanted to buy his mom a key lime pie. So he put it in the fridge. And he told the person that lived there, don't mess with the pie. You know what the guy did, don't you?
Oh, that just
he ate
don't
the
eat
pie.
the pie. Right. I don't
ate
eat
the
the pie. Right. Come
He
on,
ate
what
the
they
pie.
tell us.
David not happy about it. Paulson dumped water over the person who ate the pie. The person who ate the pie called police, and Paulson was arrested and charged with battery on a person 65 or older. Don't eat the man's pie.
Yeah, but you can't tell them to not eat the pie, because then that's the only thing that we think about. Hey, you can't eat that pie. I'm saving it for somebody. Well, it's like, why? Why not me? Why am I not good enough to have some pie?
It was for his mom, man.
What, we can't get mom another pie?
You couldn't save a piece of the pie for mom? You got to eat the whole thing? That's pie disrespect right there, and it is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 20th, 2023.
I just think, when you dangle that carrot like that, you're asking. You know what? You got anything going on today? And I'm not just asking that of you. It's somebody listening right now. Because the Florida Panthers are playing at 1 o'clock. For most of you, 2 hours tops to get there. For some of you, hour 30. Bada bing, bada boom. Not going to be a big crowd. They're playing the Anaheim Ducks, who are terrible.
In fact, the Panthers are minus 420 in this game.
It's the 2 points the Panthers really need, though. Can't screw this up.
Right, because you've got teams ahead of them. You got Buffalo and Detroit that think they're still hanging around. This is the game Florida's got to take advantage of.
I mean, Buffalo's only 2 points behind Florida. They have 5 games in hand. Detroit's only 2 points behind them. They got 4 games in hand. And the Panthers are still chasing the Penguins, the Islanders, and the Caps, who all have played the same number or less games. Both the Panthers and the Lakers, Mark, have 23 games left. You see what LeBron said, the All-Star break?
Yeah, what are they, some of the most important games in my career?
Yes, regular season games in my career, these 23 games. He said, and I'm going to do everything I can to play in all of them. That's what the NBA's been reduced to. The number one player in the league saying, I'm going to try like hell to play in all the remaining games. Can't guarantee anything, but I'm going to try really hard. Quick tangent. Felipe, All-Star Weekend. We know you were busy. You were out of town, the whole deal. A, did you catch any of it? B, this whole weekend's for you. You're 22 years old. The league and this weekend are for you.
My flight home had Wi-Fi, so I was able to watch the entire All-Star game. I thought it was boring. I thought that the best part of it was when LeBron was on the floor, but then he injured his hand.
Only played
you
about
know-
14 minutes.
Right. Because he's never been in a dunk contest, but when he's in the All-Star game, he treats it like a dunk contest.
And he did have the nice self alley-oop
Yeah.
or whatever throw it off the glass to himself. That was cute.
Tatum did it right out down the floor next play. But it was boring. It was terrible. It's borderline unbearable. Because then you got all these concerts, all these things in between. I took a nap when halftime came because I knew there was going to be a concert and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Woke up, watched the rest of it. It was fine.
So think about this, Mark. We're hockey guys. The NHL All-Star game is completely unwatchable to us. Felipe is obviously a hoop head, and the NBA All-Star game is completely unwatchable to him.
Borderline unbearable. I'll say that.
And the Pro Bowl now is reduced to a flag football game.
Right. Now, the people who watched the dunk contest raved about the dunk contest.
Correct.
They say the dunk contest was saved.
Every other year that happens.
By Mac McClung.
Right.
Hello.
Look up his high school tape. I promise you.
Yes. And if you do, by the way, we will send you away for some professional help. If you're looking up the high school tape of Mac McClung, okay, and you're not working for Turner or ESPN and you're assigned to it, then you need professional help.
He was viral. I promise.
Whatever. So anyway, the Panthers are one of 6 NHL games. They play at 1 o'clock.
The Bruins play at 1 as well. Best team in the league, hosting Ottawa today at 1 o'clock.
Correct. They've lost 8 times in 55 games in regulation. 8. No NBA till Thursday, by the way. Houston will be the new number 1 in college basketball later today. It usually comes out around lunch. Mark, Kansas TCU tonight, 9 o'clock, 4-letter network.
Kansas had a tough one with Baylor. They were down, came back to take care of them pretty well in the second half of that game. Be curious what they have in them tonight for the TCU game. That's every night in the Big 12, it's ranked team against ranked team, it seems like. But Kansas going through a little bit of a gauntlet right now after a nice, impressive win at home against Baylor on Saturday.
I'm going to try to watch every single game of the Big 12 tournament.
Well, imagine that. Kansas tied for first atop the Big 12, despite everything that's gone on this year. And, oh, by the way, it's mid to late February. They've won 4 in a row. How about that? They'll be a 1 seed. You picking against Kansas, go to the Final Four right now? They're only about 6 deep. I mean, this is a vulnerable Kansas team compared to, like, last year's Kansas team would have beat this one by 10.
But I don't know what else is out there that scares me. Purdue's been playing shaky lately.
Bama was playing well, and then they lost to Tennessee.
Albeit at Tennessee.
Right. Houston can have games in which they can't put the ball in the ocean if they're standing in it. So that's what you got tonight. I'm telling you, 1 o'clock, Panthers are playing at home. Drive over. Check it out. Be home by dinner.
Not a bad way to spend a Monday afternoon, especially if you don't have to work. Thanks for joining us on this President's Day. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. David Sampson to join us. Until then, Miller and Moulton, have a great day on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourself